All right, what's going on, my friends? Chad here. It's now 3 o'clock. Thursday night football. The Dallas Cowboys coming off back-to-back home losses will play at the New York Giants, who are coming off a road win over the Browns. That kickoff at 5:15 on Prime Video. The Cowboys favored by 5. College football is Saturday. Oregon plays at UCLA Saturday night. Kickoff at 8 on Fox. The Ducks favored by 25.5. The Oregon State Beavers enter their bye week at 3-1, coming off the win over Purdue. They'll host Colorado State on October 5th. One of the games of the year, 4:30 on ABC Saturday. Number 2, Georgia. At number 4, Alabama. The Bulldogs are favored by 2. Not a surprise, but for those of you keeping track, the Seattle Mariners have officially been eliminated from postseason contention. Rip City Drive with Dwight and Chad's coming at you next. Joining us at 5:20 will be former Coug from E4 Sports, Alex Brink, our college football and NFL insider. All right, that song's very appropriate for what Godfather and I have coming up tomorrow. We're going to be live at Haven Spa from 3 until 6, broadcasting the Rip City Drive. And we want you to come by. It's located at 10560 Southeast Highway 212 in Clackamas. And we're going to be doing it for the Boys and Girls Club of the Portland metro area. And the name of the event is Balls for All. So we're asking you to bring by any new or gently used athletic balls, basketballs, footballs, baseballs, soccer balls, you name it. Bring it by, and we're going to fill a Viking spa with balls for all. And it's going for a great cause. And we want you to come by and join us tomorrow at Haven Spa, 10560 Southeast Highway 212 in Clackamas. We also have Dick's on hand, Dick's Sporting Goods gift cards, and also a chance for you to win Trailblazer tickets. All you have to do is show up tomorrow at Haven Spa between 3 and 6, 10560 Southeast Highway 212 in Clackamas. I've got some balls I'm going to bring Godfather, and you actually reached out to the Godbrother. He confirmed that at some point between 3 and 6 tomorrow, he's going to be there because he's got balls to bring.
Here's the thing, Chad. He should be there in the 4 o'clock hour, and I know he has a lot of fans out there. So if you want to meet Bruce James, the Godbrother, in person, come on out because he'll be there. I'm sure he'll be free to take a picture with you or sign your autographs or whatever you want. But bring a ball with you and throw it in the spa, and he's going to have some, and he's going to contribute. So come on out, even if you just want to thank him for introducing you to those teriyaki sandwiches at Carl's Jr. Anything like that would be fine.
If you need financial tips, gambling tips, food tips.
Exactly.
He's got everything.
He's got it all, yeah. If you want to buy some chip dip, he's probably got some of that in the trunk of his car.
That's a guarantee.
Yeah.
Every Sunday, I get a text from him in regards to the Broncos and Bo Nix. And it goes something along the lines of, Bo's going to be just fine. Just be patient. He always sends that to me. I'm like, dude, I understand he's going to be fine. That's fine. Is he going to be great? Is he going to be a franchise quarterback? That's what I want to know. And, of course, we don't know the answer to that yet. But I love the Godbrother. He's going to be out there. But come out and join us tomorrow. The weather's going to be nice tomorrow afternoon. Haven Spa, 10560 Southeast Highway 212 in Clackamas. Look, here's the bottom line. This is for a very good cause, the Boys and Girls Club of the Portland metro area. It's also a good cause for Dwight and I because anytime I do an event, whether it's in the cooler over at Jackson's Food Mart or it's out at Haven Spa or wherever I'm at where we're trying to do something and make something happen for somebody, it makes me really nervous. Like my armpits get extra sweaty, my sphincter tightens up because I don't want to look like a loser. So we need your help to come out and fill up the Viking Spa with a bunch of balls. Shacker, you were out there testing the connection. How big is the Viking Spa that we're putting the balls in? Is it a gigantic spa? Is it medium size? Like, how many balls is it going to take to get the job done?
Well, I don't know the number of balls, and balls come in different sizes. They're not all the same. Basketballs are pretty large. If everyone brings a basketball, it could probably fill up pretty quickly versus but baseballs are also needed, and Dwight, tennis balls. Need to drop off some tennis balls.
Tennis balls, Godfather.
Yeah, and football. And does it need? And it can be Nerf football or any other football.
Anything you got, just bring it by.
I don't. It's going to be hundreds to thousands of balls in this. It's one of the bigger hot tubs.
Wow, thousands.
Yeah. Well, if everyone brings baseballs, well, yeah. If you bring some of the smaller balls, it could be thousands.
Oh, is right.
Yeah, basketballs. Bring basketballs, my friends. Anything that takes up more space.
Soccer balls are big too, and
soccer
volleyballs.
balls and basketballs.
You know, Nancy was reminding me the football she liked when she was a kid was that Nerf ball that had the kind of fins on it, so you could always throw a spiral with it.
Yeah, I've got the Russell Wilson version out on my desk.
Do you?
You can throw perfect spirals like Warren Moon all day.
I love those. Somebody bring one of those by and donate it, and then Chad and I can play catch with it during the breaks.
That's a good idea.
Yeah.
All
or
right.
maybe I'll have to stop and buy one. I don't know. We'll see.
Well, come out and join us tomorrow. Again, Haven Spa, 10560 Southeast Highway 212 in Clackamas. And bring balls. Balls for all. We're raising balls for the Boys and Girls Club of the Portland metro area, and we're filling up the Viking Spa. You can win Blazer tickets and also gift cards for Dick's Sporting Goods. So come out there and join us tomorrow at Haven Spa, and I'll have more details on that coming up later in the show. It's great to be back, Godfather, after a few days off last week and a few days off this week. Here's what's going on with me. I'm starting to enter into a mild depression right now because the summer is winding down.
Oh, yesterday must have been fun for you.
It was terrific. It was absolutely terrific. The weather on the course yesterday might be the best weather I've experienced all season long. Today was a little bit foggy early, but the temperature was just right. But my golf season is coming to an end, and the Trailblazer season is almost here. So my workload is about to increase tenfold.
Yeah.
And that means no golf, no time for Chad, and that means all work and no play. So I always enter into a bit of a depression this time of year because of that, but also more importantly, because the nice weather is about to go bye-bye.
Yeah.
And entering in will be the clouds, the gray skies, and the rain, which comes down for 6 to 7 straight months out here. So this is a difficult time for me, but the days off were very nice. I've had a chance to watch a lot of football. I've had a chance to play a lot of golf, and I feel refreshed and ready for Trailblazer Media Day, which is coming up on Monday. You and I'll be down at Motor Center early in the morning on Monday to get ready for a brand new basketball season. But, man, the football has been wild. The NFL, trying to predict games or how these games are going to play out or wagering on these games, absolute insanity with what went down this weekend.
Yeah.
How about the Rams, banged up as bad as anyone in the league right now, the come-from-behind victory over the 49ers. It's amazing what Stafford was able to do and the way that coaching staff gets the young guys up to speed and in a position to make plays. And that's how I define a great coach. With the guys that you have, can you put them in a position to have success? And the Rams are able to do that. And then when you have Matthew Stafford, I thought that was an impressive victory, Godfather.
It was. Yeah.
Very impressive victory. The Kansas City Chiefs, they're exactly who we said they are. They're great. They're the defending champs, and Patrick Mahomes is phenomenal. But they're the L.A. Lakers of the NFL. They get all the calls.
Yeah.
They get all the non-calls, and it benefits them greatly in these tight ball games. And we saw it again on Sunday night where the refs turned a blind eye to a pass interference, which would have given Atlanta the ball first and goal at the 1. It's like, what are you guys doing out there?
That was one of the craziest misses I've seen in a long time. It was obvious. And I kept waiting for a flag to come out late. I mean, somebody should have pulled the flag out and thrown it. Never happened.
I thought all three rookie quarterbacks, and again, this is why the week-to-week overreaction drives me insane. Caleb Williams, even though it was a loss, I thought played his best game of the year at Indy. Bo Nix played his best game of the year so far at Tampa, and the Broncos got a win. And I thought Jaden Daniels going 21 of 23, 2 touchdowns, no picks, in that Monday night victory at Cincinnati against the Bengals team, which was desperate. For him to execute the way he did, especially down the stretch, when they needed a 4th down completion for a first down, they got it. When they needed to get points on the drive to put the game away, he got it to McLaren. I thought Jaden Daniels was sensational. It was great to see all three of the rookie QBs out there balling out.
Daniels made some incredible throws. I mean, just perfect throws that you would just never expect to see from a rookie. It was an amazing performance. I was shocked, really. I didn't think they had a prayer of winning the game, first of all. That was a very surprising win for them. Gosh, he was great.
Incredible. And when I watch the Bengals right now, Joe Burrow's fine. He had a great game on Monday night.
Yeah.
And Jamar Chase had a big night on Monday night. Their problem right now is their defense. They can't get stops or get pressure on the quarterback, and that's created a major problem for them. So their issues are not Joe Burrow or Jamar Chase. Their issues are defense, and they can't get stops. And we saw that with the way the Commanders were able to go through them. Now, I will let you know, after they beat the Ravens on the road in the comfort behind victory, the first phone call I got, like minutes after the game went final, was Raider Mike hitting me up.
Oh, yeah, sure.
Guess how many Raider fans reached out to me after that embarrassing home loss to the Panthers?
You mean Raider Mike wasn't on the phone immediately after that game?
No. This is why the Raiders were behind Baltimore in the power rankings, even though they won at Baltimore. This is why we didn't take that win seriously, because they followed it up with a home loss to the Panthers, who are an absolute disaster right now, because Andy Dalton got the start, and he carved them up. That's an embarrassing loss. And what's even worse is that their coach, after the game, Antonio Pierce, was questioning his players for making business decisions and said, that's okay, we're going to make our own business decisions.
Yeah.
That's not what you want after game 3 of the year.
I know.
That's insanity.
Yeah, when you talk about players making business decisions, he's saying that they're selfish and maybe even that they're cowards. You know?
Yeah, pretty much.
That's a real indictment.
And this is how upside down the NFL is this year. The Seattle Seahawks, 3-0, sitting atop the NFC West. And how about the Pittsburgh Steelers at 3-0, sitting atop the AFC North?
That's nuts.
They've got a road win over Atlanta. They beat Denver on the road, and they come back home and beat the Chargers, who had played really good football going into that game. The NFL is very simple. Even without great quarterback play, if you have a guy that doesn't turn it over and you can run the football with a little bit of success and you play great defense, which they certainly do, the Steelers may have the best defense in the NFL, you're going to be in every game you play and have a chance to win.
Yeah. I'll tell you what, too, and I'm not a betting guy. I don't bet on anything. If I see another case of a road team getting like 7 or 8, somebody's getting 8.5 points this week, and I can't even remember who it is. Man, that's a lot of points in a year where those underdogs are winning, man. And lousy teams are knocking off teams that we thought were pretty good. I mean, I didn't even understand some of these outcomes.
Yeah. The other things that jumped out at me, the Vikings at 3-0, they ripped the Texans, and Sam Darnold looks terrific right now through 3 games.
Yeah.
And I thought Saquon Barkley in that game against the Saints on the road, and the Eagles struggled throughout the game to find a way to get points. He was the difference maker. He had the big touchdown run of 65 yards. He put his team ahead, and he was the guy that was able to seal the deal for them in that win. And the Eagles were a mess in that game for long stretches.
Yeah.
But when it mattered most, Jalen Hurts came up with the big pass play to set him up in position, and then Saquon Barkley sealed the deal. That was big time right there. Very impressive. And tonight, the Cowboys, who are an absolute mess with back-to-back home losses, traveling to play the Giants on the road, and the Giants are playing better football this year. Daniel Jones is coming off a big game. They're getting great push from their interior on the defensive line. And the Cowboys look kind of soft to me right now in the way they're defending, especially against the run. That could be a problem for them tonight.
Yeah. The only thing is they never lose to the Giants lately. I think Dak has beaten them like 10 straight times, something crazy like that.
Yeah.
But his record at night in these spotlight games is not good either.
All right, so that game's coming up at 5:15. We're going to hear from Aaron Rodgers. We're going to hear from Bo Nix and Sean Payton. Jets and Broncos this weekend. Right now, Denver's still hanging out in West Virginia.
Yeah, at a pretty nice place, it sounds like.
Yeah, they're not slumming it in a Motel 6, I can tell you that much.
Yeah.
So we're going to hear from him. Alex Brink will join us at 5:20. John Bladholm, talking Oregon Charity Championships. He's going to join us in studio at 4 o'clock. But when we come back, we're going to hear from Aaron Rodgers, but we also want to dive into this NIL situation that we're seeing at UNLV. And it's not just UNLV. What was it you called it, Godfather? This is called opt-out week now in college?
Opt-out weekend, because they got that red shirt thing where you can play as many as 4 games and decide to leave and still get the year back.
Opt-out week.
It could get real crazy in the future, opt-out week.
And we'll deal with that next. You got the Rip C Drive with Dwight and Chad. Join us tomorrow, Haven Spa in Clackamas. Balls for all. Bring your balls. New or gently used balls, athletic balls. We're going to fill the Viking Spa for the Boys and Girls Club of the Portland metro area. I know I'm probably asking too much from all of you out there, but can we please try to class it up a little bit when we talk about a great charity event, Balls for All? And you know exactly who I'm talking about, Tony in Boring, Mika.
Mika?
Yes, Mika. She sent one that was worse than Tony's, and Tony's was pretty bad.
Really?
Yes.
I'm
We got to class it
surprised.
up. I'm just trying to do something for the kids here, all right? This is all about the kids. I'm like LeBron. It's all about the kids. Balls for all.
Chad, we're always all about the people. You know that.
That's right.
By the way, Bolton just came across. After meeting with a specialist in Germany, Christian McCaffrey is set to miss another couple months.
So, in other words, they need time for the special German drugs to take effect.
The magic potion takes time.
49ers at 1-2, Seahawks at 3-0. The NFL is wild. Absolutely wild.
Yeah, it's upside down right now.
Totally upside down. All right, I want to talk to you about this NIL situation at UNLV. UNLV is one of those teams I take unique interest in because my buddy Steve lives down there, and we've been to multiple UNLV games. And by the way, if you haven't had a chance, the crib down there is awesome. So if you haven't been to a Raider game or NFL game or a college football game, Allegiant is a beautiful crib. But the great thing about UNLV football games is that you can get great seats at a very affordable cost. So you can go to a game, check it out. And so we've been to multiple games, and UNLV over the last couple of years has gotten really good, especially with Coach Odom, who's doing a heck of a job with that program.
Yeah.
So Matthew Sluka, who's more of a running quarterback and a playmaker, well-liked by his teammates, they jump out of the gate 3-0 with wins over two Power 4 schools in Kansas, who is a good football team, also Houston, and now they're 3-0. And Sluka, we get the word this week that he's going to pull himself out of the program. He is going to transfer, and he's going to save his year of eligibility that he has left for his college career and go elsewhere because according to him and his father, his family, his side, UNLV made agreements to pay him $100,000. And according to his side, none of those payments that were promised have been made up to this point. Therefore, he's going to pull out, and by doing it now and not playing in 4 full games, he'll save a redshirt year, which gives him an opportunity to transfer and play at any school of his choice, and then he has a chance to cash in on the NIL opportunities for himself. Now, UNLV, of course, trying to save face, they've come out and said, hey, there was no agreement in place. There were no promises made. We have come through on every payment that was promised to every player on our roster. So you can understand the concern for UNLV because if this is true, and promises were made, and Sluka is not being taken care of, that would impact other players who may want to go and be a part of their program.
Mm-hmm.
It makes them look really bad. So where I stand on this, Godfather, if UNLV made promises to pay him X number of dollars and they have not made any payments thus far, and he's gone to them and asked them about the money, and they still haven't come through, he has every right to pull out and to move on and go elsewhere. I don't have an issue with the decision. Now, if they made an agreement to pay him, and they have come through on the payments, but his agent is telling him, hey, this school, and that school will pay you 2 or 3 times what you're making here at UNLV. And then he decides to save his red shirt and pull out and leave his team behind at 3-0. I would have an issue with that. So really, it's a matter of what side you believe and the circumstances. That's kind of how I see it.
Yeah, I would agree with you, Chad. First of all, everybody says a lot of promises are made and not kept with NIL. And if that's the case, that needs to be straightened out. That just isn't any good. I also look at the idea that you can redshirt now after playing as many as 4 games of a season. And you can imagine what this sets up in the future if you can play and showcase yourself for 3 or 4 games during a season, and then somebody comes to your agent and says, this guy should be playing at a higher level, or he should be playing in the Big Ten. We're Oregon. We're going to give him $500,000 to come up to our place next year. Don't let him play anymore. He can still have this year of eligibility if he comes up here. Those schools will never be able to keep these guys. It'll be like having a tryout season in AAA baseball or something like that, a G League kind of 2-way contract in the NBA. They do need to put some guardrails in on some of this stuff. And I also advise kids, look, if somebody makes a promise to you before you set foot on that campus, get it in writing. Any deal you make, get it in writing, right?
That is the first lesson. Nelson Mello is his name. Great man. He was the owner and my boss at Health Experience Athletic Club. And I was young when I started there, 17 years old, and I was there for 8 years. And so I spent a lot of time around him, and he would teach me all of these different lessons. In fact, I took notes of all the different meetings that we had. And for his big birthday a couple of years ago, I photocopied that and I sent it to his wife so it could be presented to him because he had taken notes and his handwriting was unique. And so it was cool to be able to share that so he could take a look at it. But one of the first lessons he ever taught me when it comes to business, if it's not in writing, it doesn't mean bleep. And he was dead serious about that. And as I gotten older, I realized what he's talking about.
Yeah.
If a boss comes to you and says, hey, I want you to do this, this, and this, and I will pay you this much, until you see it in writing, you can assume that he doesn't know what he's talking about.
Yeah, or that he won't remember it when it's time to pay you, right?
Do you know how many times there's been some type of verbal agreement that was never honored, that no one came through on, where I was completely shafted because of a verbal agreement? So I've learned as time has gone on, it's like, okay, that sounds great. I like what I'm hearing here. Get it on paper, get it in writing, and then we can proceed. But until then, I'm going to assume this is not going to happen.
It happened to me in my younger days in a newspaper situation where things were promised, and I didn't have enough nerve. I was a young guy worried about keeping my job, basically. I didn't have the nerve to say, could you please just write that down on the back of an envelope and sign it or something for me. I couldn't do that, and I should have, because word was never kept. It was never transacted. It happens all the time. It does.
I think what's happening, too, with a lot of these NIL collectives, especially at these smaller schools that don't have the mad resources, my guess would be they say, yeah, we can do that, or we can do this to try and get the player on campus before the funds have actually been grabbed. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Before they have the fundraising in place, before they have the agreements from different donors.
Basically, they're promising the money before they have it.
That's exactly what they're doing.
That's never a good idea.
No. And so what happens is these kids show up, the funding falls through, and all of a sudden you're sitting there like, yeah, I don't know what to do here. Sorry about that, Sluka. We thought we were going to have the money, but don't worry, we'll get it to you.
It reminds me of me and my credit cards, Chad. I'd like to buy that. I really don't have the money, but here's a piece of plastic I'd like to give you, indicating that someday I'll pay.
And I think a lot of you need to understand the situation for Sluka, and there are a lot of players like this. Sluka is a running-type quarterback.
Yeah.
He's a good college player. He's not going to play in the NFL. He's got 1 year of eligibility remaining. So his best chance to cash in on football is right now. And let's say that UNLV was coming through on the payments. Let's say that UNLV followed everything that they said they would do. If you're Sluka and you've got an agent who comes to you and says, hey, I've got 3 schools that will pay you 3 to 4 times the amount that you're getting from UNLV,
right,
and you know you're not going to have a chance in the NFL, how could you not cash in on that opportunity?
And that's the danger of the whole situation.
Because even though it's horrible to walk away from your teammates, I'm not even sure that his teammates would blame him for jumping on a chance to make, you're making $100,000 at UNLV, but this other school is going to pay you $500,000, and this is your best chance to cash in on football.
Yeah.
I don't know how you say no to that. So the part that I know that's crazy is right now we have no salary cap and no
rules,
constraints or rules on anything.
Yeah.
So what this needs to be is collectively bargained. You've got to have a situation where you have a certain negotiating window. You've got times where you cannot negotiate. And then you have specific windows of opportunities where you can transfer and go to schools. And it's got to be set up in a better fashion. But the problem is the NCAA, who's the ultimate body to blame for this entire mess.
Yeah.
This is what they get for screwing over the kids, the athletes, for years and years and years, lining their fat-ass pockets and claiming that the kids, it was all about academics and all this nonsense, why these other guys are getting rich. They waited too long, and therefore they have no power. This is going to come back to what you and I have talked about before. You need to get a commissioner in place who's going to be in charge of big-time college football, and then you've got to get the conferences on board that will agree to certain parameters where you can have a salary cap, where you can have a collectively bargained situation, and then you have certain windows where players can transfer. You've got certain negotiating windows to where everyone's got the same framework to go by so you can have some normalcy here. Plus, standardized contracts. So if a player has got a NIL deal in place, there's a contract where you can look at it plainly and be able to know exactly what was promised, what was said, what is lined out in detail in the contract to make sure these players don't get screwed over.
Yeah, just a normal boilerplate contract just for this so that everybody signs the same type of contract with all the details, filled out on the contract. The thing that bothers me, Chad, is this also is a collective. These aren't people involved in the school. Now, with all the schools in the country doing this, you're still going to have to police the heck out of it if you even have rules. Because I guarantee you, some of these schools, some of the people operating these collectives, they don't care about your rules. I don't care about your stinking rules. This is what we're going to do.
Yeah.
Salary cap, forget about it. We're paying this kid under the table because it's probably the same guys who paid the kids under the table before, right?
100%.
Go down to UNLV or Miami and find these guys who were paying players beforehand. They'll just do the same thing. You can have all the rules you want. You better have an enforcement division to enforce your rules.
That doesn't take 2 years to enforce.
Oh, exactly. Yeah.
It's got to be
or
immediate.
5 years. Whatever.
That's why having a Roger Goodell type who can step in and administer justice quickly, that's probably the best way to do it. Because what I care most about are the players being protected. I don't want players being promised something, making a move to a school, and not getting paid on what they were promised.
Yeah.
That's not good. You don't want that. What I do like about this now, the worm has turned, as we learned from Jim Harbaugh.
Yes.
The players went from having no power and getting screwed over by these universities time after time after time to all of a sudden having all the power. They've got all the power.
Yeah.
They can transfer. They can negotiate NIL deals with no salary cap. They can pull out and say, I'm not going to play anymore because you're not paying me. The coaches in the schools hate every minute of it because all of a sudden they have no power. And the players do. And so I'm very happy to see that. But with power comes great responsibility. You've got to educate yourself. You got to surround yourself with the right team, whether it's family or friends or hiring the right agent to guide you through all the things you don't know as a youngster when it comes to taxes, when it comes to signing an agreement, what you're looking for, what you're not looking for. It's an entire process, but I'm excited for the players to have this type of flexibility and opportunity to cash in now, especially for guys like Sluka who they have no NFL career coming.
Yeah.
So if you have a chance to cash in and make some dough right now, do it. That's great. But hopefully he didn't go to the school and say, hey, I know we agreed to $100,000, but we're 3-0 now, so you can suck it. I want 3 times that, or I'm out. Yeah. If you do that, that's a problem because then you are walking out on your team after you agreed to a contract in principle. You can't do that, especially as a quarterback.
Well, that's why you need a written contract because it protects both sides.
Yeah.
I'm going to give you this money, but you're not leaving, okay? Unless you're hurt, you can't play, that's fine. But if you're playing for us.
Well, and the school looks like morons too because Sluka comes out and says, hey, they haven't paid me a dime of what they promised me. Mm-hmm. There's no contract in place. Yeah. So him coming out and saying that makes the school look awful.
Right, and there's really no legal recourse for him. What can he do?
No. And so now here's the problem for the school. Players don't call the school and say, hey, are you guys above board and will you pay your players? Oh, yeah, we're good. They just contact the guys they know. So other players who were considering UNLV will reach out to Sluka and say, hey, what's going on there? And he'll share his side. But there's no agreement in place to know which side is telling the truth.
Yeah.
You got to have standardized contracts. They need a commissioner to take over big-time college football and get all this stuff in order. Because the NCAA they have a limp stick. That's all they've got. They've got nothing but a limp stick and a small voice, and they have no power. Nothing.
Well,
nada.
They have no enforcement division to speak of
suck.
now.
They're a joke. The NCAA is a flat-out
joke. There's no
joke.
point in having rules if you can't enforce them. What's the point?
Yeah, Jim Harbaugh broke rules and laughs in their face about it.
Yeah, he did.
So there you go. That's the latest on UNLV.
Although he would never, he was raised differently than that, Chad. He would never break a rule.
That's right. Or tell a lie.
Yeah.
It's all about honesty and hard work. All right, the Jets and Broncos from New York this weekend. Aaron Rodgers, who will get his chance to take on Bo Nix, was talking about the huddle and guys complaining. I like this. I love Aaron Rodgers. I don't understand why people don't like the guy, but here he is talking about guys in the huddle.
I feel like they've been playing really well. You know, have done a nice job in protection. I'd like to cut down on some of the complaining in the huddle, though, if I could. You got to remember, like, it's like in the Aesop fable, like, you know, we need to be the tortoise. You know, it's slow and steady wins the race. Sometimes you get a little antsy out there. You want the ball. You're complaining. You're, you know, in my ear the whole time. We just got to understand it comes in the flow.
How many guys are in your ear at the huddle at the same time? It must be like.
I'm teasing Brees because he's annoying me here. Brees is one of the best dudes on the team. I mean, you don't hear a peep from him out there, except for him telling me what his job is. I mean, he's brilliant on the field. He really understands the offense. But no, when I'm in the huddle, when I step in, that's when the conversation stops. Before that, sometimes it's nice to just listen in and see what they're saying. But not a lot of communication.
You obviously have a.
I mean, that's what I want in my huddle.
Yeah.
A grown-up who commands respect, runs the offense, knows the offense better than anybody else out there on the field, including Nathaniel Hackett, the supposed offensive coordinator. Aaron Rodgers is great.
Yeah.
Man, the players, if they've been with the Jets for a while, it's got to be – their minds have got to be blown when they step in the huddle with that guy.
Yeah, and I mean, really, nobody's given him any static because they know. I mean, this is like, shh, Dad's coming home.
Yeah, shut up.
Yeah.
And
Be
watch
quiet.
yourself.
Be quiet.
You got other guys straighten other guys up because, like, dude, Rodgers is coming in. Watch out. He was also asking about the Brett Favre diagnosis of Parkinson's. That's awful.
Terrible.
Awful. Here's Aaron Rodgers on that.
Yeah, it's tough. You know, the older you get, and some of you know this, like the mortality gets kind of thrown in our face a little bit more. It's actually, unfortunately, more normal to hear about a death or a cancer diagnosis or a diagnosis like this. And it doesn't desensitize it for me. I mean, I feel bad for him and Deanna. But it's unfortunately part of our game. That's part of the risk of playing. And we all in the back of our mind know that could be a reality at some point. We just kind of hope medicine at some point can catch up and either make the symptoms easier or eradicate some of these issues that we have.
All right, there's Aaron Rodgers.
Don't hold your breath, Aaron, waiting for that medicine. Just take care of that head of yours. Whew. To say that about the job you're doing, that in itself, I mean, that shouldn't be the consequences of any job we have, you know?
The first thing I thought of when I saw the news about Favre was like, I wonder if football was the cause of Parkinson's.
Yeah, I read the other day that CTE can be a contributing cause to it. Yeah. You don't know. You'll not know till they do an autopsy probably at some point. Then you might know. But
And Favre's one of the toughest quarterbacks I've ever seen play football.
Yeah, he took way too many hits.
He never came out. He always played.
Yeah, he was Iron Man. Yeah, played every game. And he took a lot of punishment because he would run the ball. He could run around like crazy man and get big hits.
Well, this goes back to what I was telling you about Mike Golick and what he said. You get shot up and you can't feel a thing, so you're able to go out and play. But when that wears off, the pain sets in. It's immense. And that's where you develop the opioid issues by taking the pain meds.
Yeah.
And, of course, Favre dealt with the Viking issue for a while.
Yeah, he did.
Yeah.
Rehabbed it. Yeah.
All right, we'll keep things rolling. It's pretty cool. We'll hear from Bo Nix and what it's like for him as a youngster to take the field against Aaron Rodgers. Can you believe that? You look over across the field, you're like, holy shit.
Got to be crazy.
Crap. It's Aaron Rodgers. All right, Dwight and Chad, don't forget, we got Alex Brink, our college football and NFL insider, who's going to join us coming up at 5:20. And when we come back, we're going to hear Jim Harbaugh sharing his love for Justin Herbert. It's deep, and I mean real deep. And then what's going on with the Bengals at 0-3? All right, we'll hear from Jim Harbaugh in just a moment. The Bengals at 0-3, Godfather. You know, when the season first began, people were concerned with the loss of the Patriots that maybe Joe Burrow wasn't right physically. But I think through the 3 games, especially with what he did on Monday night, he played terrific football, he and Jamar Chase. I think physically he's fine, so I don't think quarterback is an issue. I don't think offense is an issue for them. I just think it's defense right now. They're not getting stops. They're giving up too many yards, and they allowed the rookie quarterback to carve them up and go 21 out of 23 on Monday Night Football. The good news is for the Bengals, Godfather, after games against New England, Kansas City, and Washington, they get to go to Carolina, back home to take on Baltimore, and then they have back-to-back games at the Giants and at the Browns. So their schedule will allow them to get back on track, but you know,
you would hope, but this is a team that's already lost to Washington and New England. So, I mean, they've already let a couple games get away from them that should have been wins. I mean, you really, as a veteran team like they are, you should be able to handle New England and Washington, I think.
That's true. But when your defense can't get stops,
you can't beat anybody then.
That's the issue. So if you're wondering about the Bengals, it's not Burrow, it's the defense. That's the big issue. Now, the other issue facing the Chargers right now, they're coming off a loss at Pittsburgh. They take on Kansas City this weekend. I'm excited about that game. Jim Harbaugh going up against Patrick Mahomes. That's about as good as it gets. But what about the health of Justin Herbert? He's not 100%. He went out there and battled against Pittsburgh, Godfather. What's his status going to be? Let's take a listen to Jim Harbaugh talking about the latest, the update on Herbert, and then we'll hear him acquiesce about his toughness. When I tell you that these two are in love, I'm not joking about it. It's real, true love that's blossoming right before our eyes.
Yes.
Let's take a listen to Jim Harbaugh. And like usual, he doesn't know much about anything when it comes to injuries.
Yeah.
Jim, have you guys got any additional information on Justin's ankle?
Just what was reported yesterday, so no real additional information. Today will be a day of evaluation and treatment, really for everybody. And by Wednesday, we'll be able to give more specific updates.
Did he get an MRI, Justin?
I know X-rays were negative. I'm sure we'll do an MRI too, as well.
Is he still in the boot today?
I do not know that. No, I think it was good. The doctors evaluate. They clear, or then and with your eye can is he able to perform? Is he able to do what he has to do and be able to protect himself? And does he feel like he can play? I mean, all those factors are the pieces to the puzzle. And I thought he did great. I mean, played really good. Played darn near perfect. It was a heck of a game, even through the entire time that he was out there. So the other would be no, you can't play. We're going to take it out of your hand. We're going to let a warrior not be a warrior. That doesn't resonate with me. And it's Justin Herbert. He is. They don't make him like him. They don't make him like him. And I thought he did. Thought he did great.
It's never fails. Anytime Herbert's name gets brought up,
Gosh.
Harbaugh goes on and on and on.
You have to think Harbaugh's teammates give him a real bad time over that.
Oh.
Teacher's pet? I mean, come on. You know that they're really giving him a bad time.
He's no dum-dum. He understands that his connection with Herbert is the most important thing he can possibly have.
Yeah.
Keep your star quarterback happy. He's never said a bad thing about him. He just talks about how great he is. He said he performed this past weekend darn near perfect. He wasn't darn near perfect in that game against Pittsburgh.
No, he wasn't.
But according to Harbaugh, he was. Look, all I know with the Chargers is very simple. If Herbert's upright and can play, they're going to be just fine. If he suffers a aggravation or the injury becomes such that he can't play, then they have no chance. It's all about Herbert being on the field and being able to play. Now, in regards to the game this weekend, well, it's going to be high noon on my sundial at 125 because I can't wait for the game. These are the type of games that Harbaugh loves. These are the type of games that he's going to groom his team to learn how to win. Like before, when they had Dum Dum as head coach, you knew they weren't going to win this game because he couldn't make the right decisions or put the players in the right position to win.
That's Mr. Dum-Dum to you.
Now, with Coach Harbaugh, they're going to be a tougher team, and he's going to make good decisions and put his team in the right position to win and make game-winning plays. And you have to have that against Patrick Mahomes. What I'm going to be curious about with Harbaugh, because we've seen it with other teams around the league, Mahomes and that offense and Andy Reid are so good that they impact the way you call a game or the way you approach a game because you don't look at the game like you would against a normal team because of the way that Mahomes can put points on the board. I want to see how Harbaugh approaches the game knowing that he's got Patrick Mahomes on the other side. My guess is Harbaugh, because he's Harbaugh, he'll be the same guy that he is no matter who he's facing. That's just how he operates.
Yeah.
So I can't wait to see it. Look out for the officials because if it's a close game in the fourth quarter, the L.A. Lakers are going to get over on you.
Yeah.
It might as well be Shaquille and Kobe or Magic and Worthy and Kareem out there because the Chiefs get all the calls.
It's like Evan Turner was talking about when he was with the Sixers, how you beat the Celtics. You got to win by 15 to win by 5.
Yeah, so Harbaugh's pretty simple. You got to win by 20 or you ain't going to win the game.
Yeah.
Now, I'm not saying that that's why the Chiefs win. I'm just saying that they're one of the most important teams in the NFL. They're going to get the benefit of the doubt. Patrick Mahomes is going to get the benefit of the doubt.
Yeah.
And with the defense, they clearly are going to get the benefit of the doubt because they don't even call obvious PIs on them. They don't need the refs' help to win games. They're that good. The Chiefs aren't even playing good football right now, and they're 3-0. That's a problem. Their defense, they're just a smart football team, man. They make good plays on defense. And Patrick Mahomes, we'll get to this coming up at 5 because fantasy football owners they're butthurt right now, but Mahomes just plays the game based on the matchup, and he does whatever is needed to win the game. He doesn't care about numbers or any nonsense.
I've also believed, too, the good teams do get breaks. Whatever breaks they are, if you're good, things just always seem to fall your way.
To the point of no return. All right, we'll keep things rolling here on the show. We've got Alex Brink coming up at 5:20. Dwight and I love talking with him. John Bladholm, Oregon Charity Championship, is going to grace us with his presence. He's going to join us in studio next, and we're going to get a chance to talk with Laura Klink of the Humane Society and also Jessica Vasquez of the REAP Foundation. That's coming up next. All right, what's going on? It's now 4 o'clock, Chad here. Thursday Night Football. The Cowboys coming off back-to-back home losses will be at the Giants tonight. Kickoff at 5:15 on Prime Video. The Cowboys are favored by 5. College football Saturday. Oregon will play at UCLA Saturday night. 8 o'clock kick on Fox. The Ducks favored by 25.5. The Oregon State Beavers enter their bye week at 3-1 and will host Colorado State on October 5th. One of the games of the year, 4:30 on ABC. It's number 2 Georgia at number 4 Alabama. Bulldogs a 2-point favorite. And the Mariners have officially been eliminated from postseason contention. Alex Brink, former Coug, and now with E4 Sports, going to join us at 5:20 here on the Rip City Drive. All right, Dwight and I are very happy to welcome back in studio our good friend John Bladholm as we get ready for the Oregon Charity Championships, October 7th at the Oregon Golf Club, and he brings along a good friend, Jessica Velasquez from the REAP Foundation, who's in studio. What's up, guys? Welcome to the show.
How's it going?
Fabulous. John, how you doing, my friend?
I'm doing great because the weather report looks good.
Yes. Don't you love that?
Yeah, last year we took a beating.
You took a beating with the weather, and I played yesterday, and the weather was as good as it's been all season, which is nice.
I thought it was raining here in Portland yesterday.
No, I don't think so. Not in the morning.
It doesn't rain where you play.
Yeah, and I apologize for Godfather opening up old wounds about all of your imperfections and why you couldn't achieve greatness like Mark Schlereth and some of the others that you went to at the Stanford of, Idaho?
Stanford of the Northwest.
Chad, he has issues. He's frank about that. He admits his issues.
It's like an intervention when I come here, and he pulls out a list, and he got like one page in, and then he starts flipping more pages, and he takes a big, deep breath like there's a lot more coming, John. So,
well, there is, John. We know that.
So... No, it's helping me grow as a person.
All right, so
you could use some growth as a person.
Wow.
See, that's what I'm talking about. I'm sorry for that.
I was insecure when I walked in here. When I walk out, I'll be even more insecure.
All right, so what's the status right now? How are things coming together for the Oregon Charity Championships?
Things are coming along incredibly well. Number one, the weather is good. The field is full. Got some great news yesterday from Pacific Office Automation. They're partnering with Konica Minolta. They're actually going to add another $5,000 in giving. So we're going to do a blind draw from the 32 charities for a $5,000 check. So thanks, Pacific Office Automation and Konica Minolta. And today's guest, On Point, is sponsoring the KPs and long drives. Our good friend Tim Clevenger over there. They got an incredible culture. They give. And so they're going to give $1,000 for KPs and long drives. Wow. And so there's going to be now 11 ways to win money out there. And we're going to top $70,000 going back into the community.
That's terrific. That's great news. So things are coming together well for John and the Oregon Charity Championships. And Jessica Velasquez is in studio from the REAP Foundation. So, Jessica, again, thank you for coming in. We appreciate your time. Why don't you give us the background on the REAP Foundation and what you guys do?
Well, thank you for having me to start off. And just to share a little bit, REAP's not a foundation by any means, but we're a nonprofit. We're a nonprofit that works with youth here in the Portland area and a little bit more beyond. We're reaching out to rural cities, St. Helens, East County, getting out to Vancouver and beyond. And what we do, our mission is to ignite, elevate, and engage the next wave of leaders for the future now. What that means, we believe that our future is through the development of our youth, and all youth need access to education, leadership, and we provide those opportunities by connecting them with professionals, mentors, students, and mentors that really work and connect with them, because we've seen a disconnection with youth today, and we want to rebuild that connection so that they can be successful tomorrow.
That's awesome. Dwight and I have had a chance to come across some youngsters over the last couple of months who are in doing some work here at the studio. And what was nice for us is that we're blown away at how sharp they were, the things that they were concerned about in regards to where they're at as people who had just graduated high school, about being able to find a living wage, to be able to afford a house, and to talk about the difference they want to make in the community. And when I hear that, it gives me hope for the future, because I think I'm falling into this category now where I'm older, so it's easy for me to look at the youth and categorize and say, well, they're just young and they don't understand it. But the reality is there are youngsters out there who are very sharp and they want to be engaged and active and beyond their education want to impact the community. So that's exciting to me.
Exactly. We're here to help them with that and elevate their voices, make sure that people hear them.
What does it look like? Now, you tell me what you guys do. What does that look like in practice? How do you do these things?
Great question. So right now we're in 27 schools,
Wow.
11 districts, 5 counties and growing. And we have a pretty large staff. We're going to about 50 today. And we send out our staff, certified and trained, to work with the youth directly throughout the school day. A lot of programming is happening after school. Some kids might not be able to stay after school. They might need to help their families. Whatever they've got going on at home, some kids can't participate in some of those after-school activities. Our staff are there to support them throughout the entire school day. They have a classroom. They create a space, a psychologically safe space, so that these youth can come to these staff members when they need tutoring, mentoring, conflict resolution. If there's an issue that comes up and arises with them, they're behavioral health trained. We have mental health counselors as well. So this is an extension to the staff that's already at the school that might be already overburdened that we hear about all the time.
That's incredible. Yeah. And so they're able to come and get that type of help, because you're right, with students or youngsters, everyone's facing different challenges with their life, whether it be through family or living situation or it may be. So it's nice that the programs are able to allow them to still get the work done so they can continue to make progress.
Definitely. That extra element of being in the school throughout the day is really the kicker, and being trauma-informed, restorative practices, and we do after school as well.
Do you use a lot of volunteers for this? You have a lot of paid staff. How do you do this?
We do have a lot of paid staff, and right now we're growing at such a rapid rate. We're building our volunteer program right now. So
this is your chance.
That's exactly.
Let's hear about it.
Thank you. So we're looking for volunteers right now. We're asking folks to visit us online at info@reapusa.org. And there's a volunteer opportunity on there. We have events where we take youth out to luncheons and mentorship and all over the city, and just different forms of participation to really make an impact, not only on these youth, but the broader community as a whole.
I love what you say here in terms of stats, but 1,800 plus total students serving grades 3 through 12 a year. And then you've got 80% of REAP students who graduate from high school.
It's actually higher than that. I need to update that stat. So it's nice to say that a majority of our students do complete high school and move on to post-secondary education. And part of us growing is to help that post-secondary education as well, because we're also seeing a lot of high school students are moving on, and they might be first generation coming into college. And there's still a lot of I don't know what to do and or needs. So we're moving into that space as well to continue to meet those needs and meet them where they're at.
What are some of the feedback you get from the students when you talk to them about the programs and what you guys do? What type of insight and feedback do they offer you?
Just today, I loved receiving an email in regards to a student who was struggling at home with providing support for their own family matters, whatever that looked like going on, inability to make it to school on time, inability to pretty much feed themselves. And one of our staff members went out of the way to see this problem that was going on, and they built a relationship with that staff member at REAP that allowed them to feel comfortable enough to truly open up and share what was going on so that we can get them the services that they need. A lot of students don't want to share these things, especially when they're young. There's fear, there's shame. Sure. And with the relationships that they build with our REAP team, they've opened up and allowed us an opportunity to help them, which also allows the ability for them to grow within themselves and be successful.
Gosh, that's great. The trust that they have by creating that relationship. Because you're right. If I was young and we didn't have enough food at home to where I could eat on a regular basis, or if my parents weren't around because they were busy doing whatever and I couldn't get a ride to school on a regular basis, I wouldn't want to share that because I'd be afraid of what other people would think about me and my situation.
This world that we live in, with wanting to get a lot of thumbs up and likes, people still worry about those things in such a heavy way, and we want to be able to provide and be a resource that helps them look past that and look within themselves and fly.
Gosh, you bring the winners in, John.
I'm just enamored just listening to this. I'm the lucky one. I just met Jessica out here in the lobby. We've spoken a couple of times on the phone, and I truly said I'm the lucky one because I've met some incredible people doing wonderful things, and we're so focused on the negative sometimes. And to hear that there are wins and that you help students fly, I just love that term. So it's an honor to meet you and what you're doing.
Yeah. What are some of the other programs that you guys have, like more specifics that I think people might enjoy hearing about in terms of how you work with the kids and different things you have going on?
Yeah, definitely, Chad. Thanks for asking. So we have 4 main programs. One's called Solutions. In brief, Solutions help the youth see that the problem is not them, the solution is within themselves. We help them see that. The next program is Reflections. Reflections, a behavioral program. If something's happening at school, maybe they're getting detention, we don't just want to send them away. We want to bring them in, find out what's really going on and get to the root cause. That connection, that relationship really helps. We have a program called YEP, another fun acronym, Young Entrepreneurs Program. So this is our entrepreneurs program. It's for middle school students, and high school students get to mentor them. Come with an idea, come with a concept, come with a business, something you want to create. And we have a program that allows you to see that idea through a business program, marketing, creating a plan. We get sponsorships at the end from people who do support us to give a little sum of money so that they continue to build that program. So they understand what it's like to, in the future, not be the one who receives the check, like by signing the back of that check, but in hopes that they become an entrepreneur to be the one that signs the front of the check. That's the concept there.
Yeah, that's so great that you do that. I love the entrepreneurial spirit because a lot of people have ideas, and depending on who they present it to, it may get shot down immediately. Like, oh, that would never work. No one's going to want that, or why would you even be thinking about that? But it's nice to have a place where you can share your ideas and kind of what you're thinking, and you've got people that can help foster that and be like, hey, that could work, and then you can put it on paper or use the computer and start to see that come together. I think that's great.
It completely is, and there's so much more behind it. Podcasts, radio shows, we bring them into TV stations as well to learn and understand all those different possibilities.
I assume you have a team in the charity championships, right?
Oh, we definitely do.
Okay,
I'm
this
excited.
is your time to talk some trash.
You know,
you're going to
some of
win
them.
it?
Oh,
You know some of them, Dwight.
Do I? Who's
Yeah.
playing for you?
all right. So this was a last-minute team put together, and who I've got is my dear husband, Shad Brooks. You may not know him, but that's okay. You will. And the next player is Nigel Burton.
Really?
Are we familiar with the Nigel Burton?
Yeah, of course.
Yes, we.
Everybody knows.
Can he
Nigel.
swing the sticks, though?
I
haven't
don't
seen
know.
Nigel
Can
play
he
golf.
play?
I mean, that's what he told me. I haven't witnessed it, so I'm going to take his word for.
I don't know.
Well, he's had more time recently to practice, so maybe
Well,
he is.
Nigel's good people, so
Yeah, he
hopefully his
is.
golf swing will match.
I'm
his
hoping so.
personality.
He's doing golf simulators and everything.
Oh, he's on
Good.
top of it then. Okay, I like that.
Who's the third?
Our third is Wesley Mallard. I heard he has a 7 handicap. Is that good?
Yeah,
I don't
Wesley
know.
Mallard can
kidding.
ball.
Is that-
Yeah,
I
he can
don't-
ball.
All
Yeah.
right.
Do you
Yeah,
want- do you want-
Reap's in a good position.
Do you want to be the fourth?
No.
we have a 4th slot. I think that'll be filled very soon. I'll be happy to share.
Chad, come on.
Chad, come on. Come on.
I don't want to let anyone down.
What's
It's
your
not
handicap?
Don't let
He's
anybody
good.
down.
He's shot par this year.
Handicap's good. Right now it's an 8.9. So
Yeah, great. It's really not optional. So
I was thinking right now, so
You know.
so you're our 4th.
Yeah, you should want to
Yeah.
play with Nigel anyway. Come on, Chad.
come on, Wes Mallard, Nigel, are you kidding me? And her husband, who's going to be legendary at some point.
Reap is a terrific program, and we got to make sure they have the best golfers. You can find a better than 8.9 handicap out there.
Can
No.
I?
No, you can't. No, take it.
Well, Jessica, we appreciate you coming by. This is awesome.
Thank you so much.
And how do people reach out if they want to volunteer and help your guys' mission?
You can find us online at reapusa.org.
Spell it.
REAPUSA.org.
Good.
All right, we'll keep things rolling. More with John Bladholm when we come back. Laura Klink of the Humane Society. I hope she's bringing the animals.
Oh, I don't know.
All right, we're going to do more with John Bladholm. Oregon Charity Championships coming up on the 7th at Oregon Golf Club.
Great job.
Hey, Godfather, I was impressed with Jessica Velasquez from REAP.
Absolutely.
I mean, that's important work to be able to help students along because everyone's dealing with different situations at home and all the issues that they've got to overcome to be able to get their work done and have a desire to continue to thrive. And you know this because your brother and your nephew are both teachers and they're dealing with students and understand a lot of the issues that they have. So I think, a organization like REAP is exactly what this community needs.
I wish they had stuff like this when I was in school because it sounds like something that everybody could use. Things on leadership, on understanding, and just being a better person all around. I mean, the programs that people are doing now, often on a volunteer basis, it's incredible.
John, how did you develop your entrepreneurial spirit?
Well, Dwight has been my mentor for going on 33 years now.
That's true, Chad.
That's 33 in a row, by the way.
That's true.
So I've been very blessed to have the Godfather anytime, day or night, 24/7.
Just call in.
I just call until he blocks my number, and then we start the whole thing again.
I just realized you're wearing an Idaho Vandals visor. That's awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah, the one visor, they finally sold it.
The Stanford of the Northwest.
Most people would be embarrassed to wear that, but good for you.
Hey, I am not embarrassed to wear a University of Idaho. Like I said, I'm the only 5-year student that's ever gone through there.
That's the first person to say win on the same sentence as Idaho Vandals all year, I think.
Hey, their little 9-man squad gives the Ducks third in the country a little run for their money.
And they did. I know a number of Duck fans that were very nervous in the fourth quarter of that football game.
Yeah, if they don't get that holding call down or the offsides call at 4th and 7, who knows what I would love to have seen that play. But I was expecting them to get blown out by 60. They got a great coach, which means he won't last there. He'll get swooped up by someone else. But it's just good that they're competitive, and it's a beautiful campus. And, man, it's amazing to think that it was over, 35 years ago. It's how quickly it goes by.
We've got John Bladholm in studio with the Oregon Charity Championships coming up on October 7th at Oregon Golf Club. All right, so when is the announcement going to be for the next charity?
So great question and great lead. There's still time to get in. So there's 2 more foursomes available. All you got to do is go to OregonCharityChampionship.com, register your charity. I think we have right around 25 charities on the list right now. And Monday morning on KPTV, this coming Monday morning on KPTV with Andy Carson, we're gonna draw the final 2 names. So you have today and tomorrow to sign up. Please do, because I'd love to see another 10 to 15 charities on there. But that's only going to give you about a week to put a team together and come out and compete. But the first tee last year was one of the ones we selected, and they finished second last year and got a $15,000 check, I believe. So,
that's freaking awesome.
Yeah, so they pulled it. And then what was really cool is we were supposed to have a friend here from the Humane Society. 2 towns partnered with Safeway, where you could have gone in and clicked a QR code. And we basically are going to select somebody. They had over 500 entries for that team to play on behalf of the Humane Society.
Wow,
that's terrific.
Yeah, it's just been great. So we have, it all starts with Pacific Office Automation. They've been absolutely amazing. If it hasn't been, because of them, we were growing to Central Oregon, which was 3 weeks ago, and we're going to go to Boise next year and maybe Seattle. So it's catching on quickly.
That's terrific. Weather update for you. Monday, October 7th, high of 71, intervals of clouds and sunshine.
Oh, wow.
That's a little better than last
How
year.
nice is that?
You are my sunshine.
That's a home run right there.
Now, I understand you may come back from Arizona and be the 4th player with REAP. I think the Godfather's putting a lot of pressure on you to come back. And, you've asked a lot of great questions over the last 2 years. You just told me you shot subpar for the first time in your life. Is that true?
That is true.
At Heron Lakes?
Yes, 2 under.
So 2 under, which is a tough golf course. So you could play with Nigel, play with Wes. What are you going down there for? Vitamin D?
For a football game. Vitamin D and a football game. Me and my buddy like going down to Arizona. We've adopted Arizona State as our college team because we've been going down there for years. I just love the setup with the sunshine, and they've got all the major sports, football, basketball, baseball, everything. It's just a great place to go hang out. That's all.
Who do they play that weekend?
Kansas.
Oh, wow.
Big 12 matchup.
Wow.
Yeah.
Well, I don't want there to be any pressure, but because I see you ringing your scratching.
Here's my issue. Seriously, like I love golf as much as anyone. I love it and I take it seriously. But playing for a charity, like if it's one of those days where I'm not on my game or I'm not contributing to help that charity get over and win the tournament, like that gives me great anxiety. I'm not going to lie.
I never would have thought you're such a wuss. Like,
This is his show here now. Come on, take
this
it
may
easy.
be my last show, but
it
I am
come
a
on.
wuss.
I mean,
But seriously, like the pressure, like I'm starting to get clammy hands just thinking about that. Like, what if I don't perform?
to be fair, you've always had clammy hands. Okay, so let's get that out of the way right away. Number 2 is I was that guy, not with clammy hands, never, but that guy who would get nervous, upset. And Peter Jacobson, the same old guy, goes, John, you're not good enough to get upset at anything. So, and from then on, I've enjoyed the game more than I ever thought possible, and I'm not that good. So, I mean, come on, man, do it for me. Do it for the kids. Do it for the 32. Do it for the 32 charities.
Hit that home run for little Jimmy in the hospital.
Yeah, little Jimmy's rooting for you.
I do have a serious question about the charities. You put in a lot of work. Like these tournaments for you, to see it all come together and the work you do year-round to make it happen is tremendous. But do you find pleasure when you get a chance to talk to the different charities? You get to meet the different people like Jessica, who was just in studio. How much does that make it worth all the work that you put into making this happen when you see all the good people that are trying to make a difference in the community? That's got to mean something.
Far more than I could have ever expected because, I say I'm not an optimist. I'm not a pessimist. I'm kind of a realist, but trending to be more of a pessimist. So to hear that there are really good people making a difference, and our friend David Lucas, with his big event a couple weeks ago, got up and spoke how many successes, how many kids are graduating, how many kids are being fed. And so I kind of forget that there are wins out there that are being had in our community. And I think we should focus a lot more on that. So, yeah, we're the winner. Athena Boyer, my business partner, and I will leave here and talk about Jessica. Lorna Day, who iHeart is playing on behalf of. Lorna and Bob Day are making a huge difference with pediatric cancer research. Jeff Keller with the USO, hearing about his son. It goes on and on and on about people doing the right thing. And if we can influence our youth, and I think we all believe this, they need more support and help and love right now than at any time in our lives.
There's no question about it.
Yeah, and you guys are a big part of that. You playing on October 7th would really contribute to that. Dwight said he'd caddy for you.
No, he didn't.
I thought you were going to caddy for me.
Yeah, you're trying to weasel out a caddy.
He just said he was going to caddy for me. Didn't you hear him say that?
Yeah,
Godfather?
he did say it. What's going on over there?
Man, you guys turned quickly.
I can't imagine you on tournament day. You've probably got a billion different things going on.
Yeah.
There's 2 great feelings on that day. When everyone gets in their carts and am I still there? Okay. When everyone gets in their cart and you see them all going out and they're all excited, they're all happy because they're all at the same place at even par. And then during the awards ceremony, hearing all the stories, the putts that are made, the chips that are made, the ones that are missed, and handing out those big checks to charities. And then the greatest feeling is when everyone leaves.
It's all done.
It's all done. And you're like, we got to start planning for your Boise or the next year. But it's very rewarding because, as I've mentioned over and over, to walk up and down that line of carts, and the way we put signage on them is Athena designates every 2 carts for the charity. So you see all these amateurs walking up and down with their phones because it is all these logos of 32 different charities. It's very rewarding. And now that I know the weather is going to be better, I'm a lot happier. Mother Nature was not happy last year.
No. 71 degrees with periods of sunshine. Like, that's perfect golf weather right there.
That's kind of what you are. 71 degrees with
An Oregon Golf Club is nice. That's
John,
a beautiful course.
What does it take to win this? What was the score last year on that
It'll be
track?
right in the -15 to -17. We'll set up some tough pin placements. Toyota is putting up 4 hole-in-one vehicles, and one thing that I will strive tomorrow, we meet with the great team, Jeff, director of golf up there, is amazing. And so the par 3s, we will put the pins in the middle of the green because we want a hole-in-one. We want to give away a car. We want to give away a Toyota. The insurance has already been paid for. But you're looking at -16, 17, right in there.
Yeah.
But we'll toughen it up. We'll have some. The rules are it's scramble. There's no minimum drives, but you cannot improve your lie. So you have one club, but you can't take it from the rough to the first cut or first cut to the green. You have to play it in, the cut that the ball falls in.
That's fair.
Yeah, and thanks to Les Schwab, we have 32 scorers there that are keeping an eye on everyone. So there can be no question about scoring.
That's why I love playing with Mike Rice in tournaments because
Because he cheats?
all I can say is we always had favorable lies.
Yeah.
Regardless of circumstance, the lies were always just fine. Thank you,
He's
Mike. Appreciate that.
Noted for that.
Yeah.
That guy.
Yeah.
I don't even know what to say.
Yeah. That's what I'm talking
Yeah,
about.
Yeah.
Some guys are squirrely. You got to keep an eye on, but that's great, man. The
Yeah.
competition, because you said, I think it was Lucas that told me last year, the competition out there on the course,
Yeah,
as the
and
day
it-
went along, it was pretty good, even though they were grinding through the rain.
Yeah, and by the way, I've seen some of the names this year, and everyone has stepped up their game. Barb Bradshaw, part owner of Standard TV and Appliance, she sent in her 4 names, and I think they all rhymed with Ricky Fowler. It's like, holy cow. You cannot have played any level of professional golf in the last 5 years. Can't be a teaching pro, but there's a lot of college kids that have played competitively, a lot of local talent here, because we got incredible golf courses. You look at Columbia Edgewater and, even Eastmoreland. I mean, there's some Redtail and Heron Lakes, so
I've seen some
Willamette
great young
Valley.
players.
Willamette Valley. I mean, incredible.
We got some good ones that live out there, I can tell you.
Yeah, yeah.
I thought I would share this story with you. I was in Colorado a couple of weeks ago and was playing out at Riverdale, which is a great public course. And me and my buddy Josh showed up at the first tee, and we were teeing off early, just after 7 o'clock. And there was a young gal, and I was trying to guess like high school or college, but on her golf bag it said UCCS, University of Colorado Springs. Well, it took me about 2 minutes to watch her tee off and watch her swing, and I was like, okay, she's legit. And so I got to talking with her, and she's in the LPGA program down there. So she takes her golf very seriously. But I learned so much just by watching her operate on a golf course as a youngster. Her setup, her approach, everything was the same no matter the situation. And regardless of the result of the shot, she had no frustration, no expression. Her demeanor was the same from the moment she teed off on hole 1 all the way up until we shook hands on 18 when it was done. And I was like, I watched and I was like, okay, boom, 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 boom. I love her process. And so I'm like, I'm going to mimic that type of process. So instead of reacting to a shot that I'm unhappy with, just let it go, move on, go through your process, get ready for the next shot. I learned a lot from her. I was totally blown away and impressed by the skill level and ability and the way she managed the course mentally at her age. It was impressive.
Enough to play on October 7th? Come on, just say yes. It's too easy to say no in life.
This is what I will do for you. I will talk to my buddy, and if I can alter my trip and come back early, then I will participate.
Okay, that's all I need.
Okay.
You heard it right here, Dwight.
I know.
Thank you. Thank you for your help.
But
your
then on the flip
encouragement.
side, if it's one of those days where I'm striping it and playing up to my capabilities, that would be an amazing feeling to know that you helped a charity get over in a situation like that. Like, that's the bright side. I like what you said. I'm not a pessimist. I'm not an optimist, but I trend to be a pessimist. Yeah. So I lean focus on negative instead of all the positives. My internal voice is always like, dude, you're going to screw that up. What are you doing there?
Hey, we only have so many rounds of golf in our lives. So why not add one more, right? Right?
That's my philosophy. It's like, I got to play today because I might die tomorrow.
Yeah, for little Jimmy.
Do I want to miss out on this day? It's beautiful sunshine outside.
Yeah, I mean, you're with 3.
That's how I justify all the activity.
Honestly. Give me your buddy's phone number. I'll call him. We'll get this done. And it'll be a championship you want to play in every year.
It's amazing. You knew when you put this together last year it was going to blow up. And now what? You've done one in Central Oregon. You're looking at Boise. You're getting ready for number 2 here in Portland. You see what's happening here?
Yeah, I didn't.
It's
honestly,
becoming exactly what you thought it was going to be.
Yeah, I didn't know it was going to blow up, to be honest with you. I was hopeful, but there was such a cool energy for those people that showed up that I didn't expect, even in the weather with what was coming. I knew what was coming through in a couple hours and acted like I pretended like it wasn't. But, yeah, we just, you know what, to see 32 different charities And I will say there's still 2 spots left. So if you're a charity and still want to compete, go to OregonCharityChampionship.com and would love to have you. But it's going to be a great day no matter what. There's good food, there's good player gifts, there's good awards. So we'd love to have you.
And
When are we going to take this thing national?
With your help, Dwight, we have a meeting right after this with you. So
With my help, you're not going to get outside the city of Portland, but that's beside the point.
Remember, we're trying to make this a psychologically safe space for me. Okay? So, Dwight, I need support.
Impossible.
I need support.
Okay.
Well, I want to give a shout out to Laura Klink of the Humane Society.
Yeah.
Laura, sorry that you couldn't make it today. You're welcome in studio anytime to talk about what you're doing.
Well, she
If you
wasn't
bring
good.
a dog, especially.
Yeah, we'll get her to bring a puppy next time.
Yeah.
So thanks for playing. Thanks for committing. And thanks for having me on.
I appreciate that. Now, one more time, how long do they have to register to possibly win one of the 2 spots that are going to be announced by Andy Karsten?
Today and tomorrow, OregonCharityChampionship.com. We will pull the names 10:15 Monday morning on KPTV. Thanks to Pacific Office Automation, Safeway, Toyota, Les Schwab, Summit Mortgage. We're just Safeway. We're just very blessed. We have great support this year. So thank you.
And how about Pacific Office Automation coming
Oh,
through like
man.
usual? They're big time everywhere.
Yeah,
Yes.
I got a call last night. We'd like to add another $5,000. So incredible people, incredible team. And
That guy's a great guy.
Yeah, Christy Wakefield. Thank you, thank you, thank you.
Like they're involved in everything that's big. That's
They-
they've
they
got
don't
the
even-
giving hearts. They
They
care
don't
about
even
people.
know some of the things they're involved in.
It's impressive.
Yeah, it is.
All
Well,
right,
thank you,
John
guys.
Bladholm, Oregon Charity Championships. Thank you, John. We appreciate it. Big thanks to Miss Velasquez for coming in from REAP. We'll come back. Time for a Bo Nix update here on the Rip City Drive.
Oh, thank you.
All right, time for a Bo Nix update. We love Bo Nix. In fact, Sean Payton, keep in mind the Denver Broncos right now hanging out in West Virginia.
Yeah.
They stayed on the East Coast because they played the Bucks, and now they've got the Jets back-to-back road games, so they thought it may be better to take the team on a retreat, hang out together, and my guess is the retreat's been a lot better coming off a win as they defeated the Buccaneers 26-7, and Bo Nix played his best game of the three of these played. And let's take a listen to Sean Payton talking about Bobo.
We used to break down the season in quarters. We don't do that anymore. Look, I think all these young guys that are playing are growing. You know, they're growing, and we have to also. You know, these are the things what does he do well? What does he like? Can we do that? You know, that type of thing. So that's got to continue. You know, not only on his part, but I keep talking about everyone else around him. You know, the players and coaches painting the right picture. Those are all important things for his success.
All right, a couple of thoughts I have on what he said there, Godfather. Number one, the guys around him playing better. Well, we saw the Broncos find a better option at running back in Tyler Bidet, who went out and produced and had a great average yards per carry in the game. So he provided some boost in the run game. I thought the offensive line, in terms of protection, he didn't get put on the ground, which was great.
Mm-hmm.
And he had receivers like Cortland Sutton who were able to step up and make some plays. Josh Reynolds. And the defense was exceptional with 7 sacks in the game. So he got the help around him that he needs. But I think what happens, at least from what I've been told with a rookie quarterback, you know, Sean Payton's got a vast playbook. And they run all these different plays through camp, and then you install and do these game plans for different teams. But because Bo's new in the offense, he doesn't yet know which plays he likes, which ones he doesn't like, which ones that he's comfortable running in different situations. But as the season goes along and Bo has a better handle on the offense and the playbook, then he and Peyton can have more of a dialect in terms of, I want to run this play here. I'm comfortable with this. I'm not really comfortable with that play. I think this will work in this type of situation. And I think when those conversations start to take place, then we'll see Bo take it to a different level. The one thing I'll say about Bo Nix, he played much better in Game 3, but Sean Payton continues to let him whip it around the field and show great confidence in him, which is rare for a young quarterback who's only played 3 games in the NFL. And what was your takeaway from watching him against Tampa?
I thought he looked more settled and comfortable, Chad. And I think he's looked better every game just in regard to his demeanor. He looks like he's getting plays off quicker. He's getting the play in from the sideline quicker. All those little housekeeping things are working out well for him. And he's kind of learning when to stay in the pocket, when to evacuate, when to get out of there and pick up yards, which is something we didn't see him do a lot of at Oregon. He never had to, really. Pocket was always just made of steel almost, but he's just been better. He's been better. Not as many bad passes. And, I mean, you might laugh, but early, he was throwing some bad passes. No question about it.
He was awful in the first 2 games of the year. That's why I was impressed to bounce back on the road and play the way he did on Sunday against an aggressive defense. That was very impressive to me. Now, this is what's crazy about this game coming up on Sunday. Aaron Rodgers has been playing in the NFL almost as long as Bo's been alive. That's crazy, but it's got to be weird for Bo to grow up watching a legend and know that he gets a chance to face off against him on Sunday, and that's something that Bo was asked about. Here's what he had to say.
Well, it's pretty surreal. You know, I've grew up watching him do all his, cool plays for so long, and, over time I've watched a lot of his, highlights, and so it's crazy that I get to go out there and play against him, really looking forward to meeting him for the first time. It's hard to put into words that on Sunday you get to play a great like that, but that's what the NFL brings. That's why it's such a special game.
So Aaron Rodgers, his first year in the NFL was 2005. So he's been in the league roughly 19 to 20 years. Bo's 24 years old?
Yeah.
He was a toddler when Aaron Rodgers started playing NFL football. That's wild to me, but I think Bo Nix, the one thing I am certain of, he will have the same demeanor on Sunday playing against Aaron Rodgers as he's had in the first 3 games. He doesn't get flustered. He doesn't show much emotion. Like, he's got a very good, I don't know what to call it, Godfather, but he's kind of even keel.
Yeah, I think that's a good description. What I like about him is he's that way even when he makes a mistake. And that's when normally you see a guy take the helmet off and throw it down or just shake his head or yell at somebody. He has none of those traits. He's the same guy, win or lose. It doesn't matter. I'd like to see him throw a touchdown pass, but he's been close, and people have been tackled on the 5 or whatever, but he's thrown some balls that could have been touchdown passes.
Now, our good friend East Coast Earl from Clark College, who wined us and dined us a couple of weeks ago on my birthday, he's a big Jets fan. He sent me a text, Jets, 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 Jets. Thanks a lot, Earl. We appreciate that. Now, in regards to Rodgers, here's what Sean Payton sees in Rodgers coming off the Achilles. And he was asked about the film and what the film shows about Aaron Rodgers over the first 3 games of the year.
You feel like you're seeing, the quarterback we all remember. I mean, he's quick, the ball's out. He's got great command of what they do. 180 penalties drawn with his hard count, and so historically speaking, he's one of the top quarterbacks we've ever seen, and certainly in that area. So he does a great job getting to plays they want to get to. You see the skill set that we all saw prior to the injury.
Now, it's early, but I'll say this. Aaron Rodgers, to look the way that he looks right now, coming off an Achilles tear at this stage in his life and his career, it's pretty impressive.
Yeah, it really is. I'm surprised that he's been able to get up to speed this quickly. He's running around in the last game like he did in the old days. I was really surprised.
I know rehab is very long and grueling and difficult, but I wonder at this stage in his career if having a year off from football and not taking the physical punishment, if in some ways his body feels fresh.
Yeah, I would guess that there's some real truth to that, Chad. I think so, and I think he's energized by a chance to win games, and he's seeing now that they're going to be okay. They're going to have a pretty good team, and he has good receivers. He's got some tools there. Good running back.
You and I were just joking. I've never really been able to throw a pro football. I don't know if it's because I just suck or my hands are too small, but I've never really been able to whip it around and throw tight spirals like Warren Moon. I know you have the same issue.
Yeah.
You can throw a baseball with no problem, but the football has been a different story.
I can't spin it like those guys do.
Aaron Rodgers never had that problem. He throws a beautiful football.
Yeah, he does.
And that ball does come out quick. You want to protect your body? Just get rid of the football.
Yeah.
It's unbelievable how quick. And the problem, I told you, he shared the story, it blew my mind. He learned from his defensive line coach how to read fronts. And based on the fronts, he knows where the back end of the defense is going to be. So he can turn his back to the line of scrimmage on play fakes and turn around with confidence because based on what the front was showing, he knows where the secondary guys are going to be. His processing levels, it's elite. And that's where he annihilates you.
That is his secret sauce. I don't think there's any question about that.
Dang.
He beats you with his mind more than his arm.
All right, when we come back, fantasy owners are really frustrated with Patrick Mahomes right now, Godfather.
Yeah. I don't care about fantasy owners.
I don't think Patrick Mahomes cares about your fantasy team either.
You don't have a team, do you? You don't do that fantasy stuff.
I have fantasies, but I don't have a fantasy team.
There you go. Yeah.
My main fantasy right now is that people will help us fill up the Viking spa with balls tomorrow. That's my main fantasy. Balls for all. We'll get to that next, and then we'll talk about how fantasy owners are upset and frustrated with Patrick Mahomes. Very sad to report that the Seattle Mariners have officially been eliminated from postseason contention.
You're not that sad.
And neither are you. Thursday Night Football coming up in about 15 minutes. The Dallas Cowboys are gripping, coming off back-to-back home losses. They're going to be at the Giants. Kickoff at 5:15 on Prime Video. Cowboys right now favored by 5. College football on Saturday. Oregon going to be down at the Rose Bowl taking on UCLA. Kickoff at 8 on Fox. The Big Ten after dark. Ducks favored by 25.5. The Oregon State Beavers, they enter the bye week at 3-1. They'll host Colorado State coming up on October 5th. And the game of the day and one of the games of the year, number 2, Georgia. At number 4, Alabama. The Bulldogs right now favored by 2. And both those teams in championship consideration. Alex Brink coming up at 5:20 here on the Rip City Drive. All right, a couple of messages have flown in. East Coast Earl loves the Jets. He was telling me how Bo Nix is basically going to get destroyed on Sunday. And I said, look, the Jets should win the game. Yeah. I'm just looking for progress from Bobo. But I said, your head coach is a dum-dum, so it gives me some hope for Sunday. His response, no doubt, yes. I cannot stand Robert Saleh and his fake ass. I'm glad Rodgers pushed him away when he was trying to give him a hug. He needs to calm down and stop acting like a fan. Spoken like a true Jets, Jets fan. Also, Miranda, haven't heard from her in a while. Miranda, nice to hear from you. She has chimed in. Dear Skunk Vomit, good afternoon, Mr. Doing. Number 1, which brought you more joy? A, when Broncos signed Russell Wilson, or B, when the Broncos drafted Nix? I would say when Russell Wilson signed with the Broncos, I was unbelievably excited. In fact, I woke up that morning, and the first thing I saw was a text message, and then I went straight to ESPN, and that was the top line story on their page. I screamed, and I jumped out of bed, scared the heck out of Puppy Shots, and then the first thing I did was call my dad. I was like, dude, Russ is a Bronco. Everything after that moment went downhill, but that moment in time was a great moment. No question about it.
You were never that excited about it again, were you?
Gosh, something that seemed so right ended up so bad.
Yeah.
I can't believe it. That's still a shocker to me. It's like, how did that go out? It was a mess. And they're still suffering from the decision.
Yeah.
What a disaster. Next, which grinds your gears more? A, when Russ was an epic failure, or B, the fact that Nix is evacuating his bowels on the field with regularity? Well,
no, he's not.
He has been awful in 2 out of 3 games. There's no question about it. Awful. I mean, bad decisions, bad throws, turnovers. He's yet to throw a touchdown pass. 2 of his 3 games have been brutal. He was much better against Tampa. So I really don't have a feel one way or the other on Bo Nix. I'm doing exactly what I said I was going to do. I'm going to take it game by game and look for progress. And then at the end of the season, I'll have to much better chance to make an evaluation of what he is. What he did in Game 3 against Tampa, I did not expect that. I thought he was going to play terrible and the Broncos were going to get beat. He played well and the Broncos won the game. I just want to see progress against the Jets. Win, lose, or draw, I want to see Bo making progress, meaning getting in and out of the huddle quickly with the plays, making good decisions going through his progressions, not putting the ball in harm's ways, using his legs when called upon to do, but most importantly, being confident with his throws, not late. Yeah. Late over the middle will get you picked, as he's proven. But being timely with his throws. And I thought the placement on some of those throws that we saw on Sunday against Tampa was really nice. So thank you, Miranda. I appreciate you chiming in. We'll get to Patrick Mahomes here in just a moment. But tomorrow, it's going to be a big day for the Godfather and I, and we want you to join us. In fact, Miranda, why don't you come out and drop off some balls? We're going to be out there at Haven Spa. It's in Clackamas. The address is 10560 Southeast Highway 212 in Clackamas. Hey, Tony and Boring, you're close in that area, so I expect you to stop by and bring some balls because we're raising balls for the Boys and Girls Club of the Portland metro area. It can be basketballs, soccer balls, baseballs, footballs, any type of new or gently used athletic balls. Bring them by. We're going to fill up a Viking Spa, Godfather, with balls. And then once we're done, all the balls are going to be donated to the Boys and Girls Club of the Portland metro area.
A great cause. Really is a great cause.
See, they need you to bring by balls so that the kids have balls to play with, and that will give them a chance to be active. It's good for their fitness. It's a great opportunity for you to stop by. Plus, while you're there, you can enter to win Dick's gifts cards. And I love Dick's because they have golf supplies, golf clubs, anything and everything you could want. They have great Under Armour gear and a great selection of Nike. Dick's is my spot without question. I love it. Also, we're going to have Trailblazer tickets on hand that you can enter to win as well. And we got the season right around the corner. So everything you need is in one spot tomorrow. The Godfather and I are going to be there broadcasting live from 3 to 6.
My brother's going to be there, too.
The God Brother's going to be on hand.
Yes.
What's up, God Brother?
Yes.
So join us tomorrow, 10560 Southeast Highway 212 in Clackamas. We're going to fill the Viking Spa with balls for all, benefiting the Boys and Girls Club of the Portland metro area. Now, this I love. Apparently, fantasy owners are very upset with Patrick Mahomes because he's one of the lower-rated quarterbacks in NFL right now. He's not focused on throwing touchdowns. He's not focused on putting up big numbers. He's just doing whatever it takes to win games. But unfortunately, in the fantasy world, Godfather, that's not good enough to get your team over the hump every week.
No, I think in the fantasy world, you're looking for selfish players. They don't care if their team wins or not. They're just rolling up TDs and yardage. And I don't mean just quarterbacks, and I don't mean just football. It's basketball, too. You want that gunner in basketball on your fantasy team, the guy that takes 30 shots a game, right? You're just looking for points out of the guy.
This is the main thing I love about Patrick Mahomes, and it's the number one quality that I admired most about John Elway. Elway, for most of his career, played under Dan Reeves. Dan Reeves ran a very conservative offense that prevented Elway from being in a pass-first system, which would have accentuated his skills and allowed him to put up bigger numbers. But he didn't care because he was winning football games and going to Super Bowls.
Yeah.
Patrick Mahomes, and if you look at the way they're playing right now, they're not playing their best football, but what I love about Patrick Mahomes, he's got the same mentality. He's not worried about his numbers. He's not worried about touchdown passes. He's not worried about his QBR, his quarterback rating. He will go out and look at the matchup, look at the team they're playing, and he's simply going out and executing the game plan, meaning he will play whatever style of game he needs to play, even if it means it's going to sacrifice his numbers, because in the end, if they get the win, that's all he cares about. And he's got one simple focus this year. He wants to do something that Brady did not do, and that's go three-peat. We haven't seen it in the Super Bowl era, a team win 3 consecutive championships. Mahomes wants to be the first to do it, and for good reason, because he's chasing greatness. I just love quarterbacks that in the end are like, hey, did we get the win? Okay, that's all that matters.
Right. He's not concerned at all with stats. He's way past that. Plus, he's got the comfort of knowing everybody knows he's the best quarterback in the league.
Yeah.
He has nothing to prove in regard to statistics. All he has left to prove is just winning another Super Bowl.
Exactly. The problem is there's a lot of guys in the league that don't look at it the way he does.
You're not kidding.
They're worried about their touches. They're worried about their numbers for a variety of different reasons. It could be selfishness, like you talked about. It could be the fact that they're looking to get paid and they know they need certain numbers to be able to go out and get the contract they want. But Mahomes, he's just not worried about that.
And I would say, Chad, if you drafted him on your fantasy team, you weren't paying attention anyway, because the second half of last year, we saw what was coming.
Yeah.
They've changed as a team. They got to play defensive football, be real careful with the ball, not gamble as much as they did before. They're not the same offensive juggernaut they used to be. So that's not a guy you take as your first quarterback.
The Chiefs are a smart football team. What impresses me, too, with Andy Reid, the Kool-Aid man, while he's an offensive genius, he's content to run the football if that's what the defense is going to give him. Like, he'll line up and have his guys be a more physical football team. The brain trust there is great. Andy Reid and Patrick Mahomes are on the same page, and they're going to do whatever it takes to win games. And when you have your quarterback and your coach on the same page focused on winning and whatever it takes to get the win, you're in the great spot.
It's going to be interesting, I think, this week. You know, they've lost Pacheco. He's gone for a while. He's not going to play. He's hurt. They'll just plug somebody in and the guy will rush for 95 to 100 yards, probably. I mean, they'll get it done somehow because they just get it done. They figure out a way. They're amazing in that regard, how they just They win games. That's what they do.
Everyone tells me how important Pacheco is to that offense. I think he's a great runner, an undersized guy who brings a lot of toughness.
Mm-hmm.
And for a smaller guy, he can go between the tackles and pick up the tough yards, which I think is great. But no disrespect to Pacheco. My guess is no matter what back you put in there next to Mahomes, he'll be just fine.
Yeah.
That's all. All you need as a back is like, hey, be patient, run the play you need to run, and you need to occasionally pick up a blitz so our quarterback doesn't get killed. It can't be that hard to find that type of guy in that offense. It's just easier when you got Andy Reid scheming and you got Patrick Mahomes in the backfield. The Chiefs are great. They're going to be fine. Like you and I were just talking about this. I think we both agree that right now Buffalo, and again, it's stupid to point to the best team in football through 3 weeks, right?
Right.
Because it's September for crying out loud. Right now, Buffalo looks like, okay, they might be playing the best football in the NFL.
I think they are.
Defense is pretty dominant, and Josh Allen is balling out of his backside right now, and they have balance on offense. So they're not trying to ask Josh to do everything. It's smart football. But I know that somewhere between September and the end of December, the Bills will cease to be the best team in football, and the Chiefs will rise up again, and you'll see them peak at the right time. That's how that's going to go down.
Probably. There is one of these years, though, somebody's going to get them, and it might be the year they try to get 3 in a row, which is very difficult. Josh Allen, man, if they can keep him upright, keep him healthy, I'll tell you what, he's on his way to a really, really good year.
Have
MVP
you seen enough
year.
from the Jets to think that they're a legitimate contender in the AFC?
Yeah, I don't know. No, I haven't seen enough. But going off what I have seen, I'd give you at least a chance they could be. Yeah, they could be.
All right. In the AFC North right now, Pittsburgh's at 3-0, Baltimore, Cleveland, and Cincinnati. Baltimore at 1-2, Cincinnati at 0-3. Do you still think that Baltimore is a legitimate contender in the AFC?
Yeah, I do.
I agree with that. In the South, we have the Texans, Colts, Jaguars, and Titans. I think we can agree that the Texans are a legitimate contender.
Yes.
In the AFC West, Chiefs, Chargers, Raiders, and Broncos. Have you seen enough from the Chargers to think that they're a legitimate threat in the AFC this year?
Only if Justin Herbert stays healthy.
All right, so you have, let's count it up, 1, 2, 3, 4. Are we not putting Cincinnati in that category? Are they out at 0-3?
I don't think they're out, but it's going to be an uphill climb for them.
There are 6 teams right now vying for supremacy in the AFC. That is Buffalo, the New York Jets, the Baltimore Ravens, the Houston Texans, and both the Chiefs and the Chargers.
Mm-hmm.
Those are your teams. Hard for me right now to see one of those teams taking out Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs.
Yeah.
I'm not saying it's impossible because injuries can take place. I'm just saying that I trust Mahomes and Andy Reid a lot more in those tough situations come late January than I do some of these other teams. Hopefully Buffalo can finally rise up.
Yeah. Well, they've come close.
Yeah.
You know, they've been right on the doorstep.
All
I've
right.
got some we got Brinks coming up, and then after that, final segment, I have some bad news. Former Trailblazer.
Really?
Yeah, we lost one. Not a guy who played a lot here, but he played here. Was a fan favorite when he played here.
I don't know who it is. What decade did he play?
He played in 92. I'll tell you who it is. I don't like to make people wait on bad news. Joe Wolf.
Joe Wolf.
He's only 59. He played in North Carolina with Michael Jordan.
I think he played in Denver with the Nuggets, too, didn't he?
He might have. He played for a lot of teams, mostly Milwaukee, and that's where he grew up. He's supposedly the greatest high school basketball player in Wisconsin history.
Why did he pass away?
I don't know. I haven't seen any cause of death listed for him. Good guy, though, I can tell you that.
All right, Joe Wolf. Let's see here. Yeah, he played in Denver. Started with the Clippers. Played in Denver.
He was
played
pretty
with
good
the
for the
Celtics,
Clippers. Yeah.
the Trailblazers, Charlotte, Milwaukee. Went back to Denver. back to Charlotte. He played for a long time. Started out in 87, 88, and finished up his career in 98 and 99.
Been coaching in the G League for a long time with Milwaukee's affiliate.
13 seasons in the NBA is pretty darn good.
You're right. It sure is.
All right, we'll give you some details on Joe Wolf. Alex Brink, our college football and NFL insider, is up next. All right, Godfather, one of our favorite times of the week. That's right, our college football and NFL insider, Alex Brink, who is back on the program. Alex, once again, it's great to have you back on the show, my friend, and congratulations on another victory for the WSU Cougars, 4-0 on the season. A close shave against San Jose State, but they got it done.
Well, thanks for having me, guys. Yeah, 4-0 for Washington State. It was, exactly what you think a Friday night Pac-2 after dark would be, or I guess Pac-7 now, so to speak. But it was that game was wild. And in the end, I think you got to win games like that sometimes, especially when it's a short week and, again, Friday night and all of the above. I also think it'll be interesting to see where San Jose State ends up at the end of the year. They're a better football team than I thought based on the film. So it'll be interesting to see. Ken Niumatalolo is a fantastic football coach down there.
Alex, I want to ask you about this week, though. You're going to be in pretty tough, I would think. Playing at Boise is no picnic, and they're obviously pretty good with a really good running back. How do you see that game?
It's going to be tight. There's a lot to it for sure. The Boise's a really good football team. They showed it against Oregon a few weeks ago. They've kind of dominated their other opponents to this point. That running game with Ashton Genty is special. I mean, they do some really good things. Dirk Cutter, the offensive coordinator, is obviously a guy that's been around for a long time in the NFL and the college ranks. So, he knows what he's doing. I think for Washington State, if you're looking at how they win this football game, they've done it before against teams that are like this. Think Oregon State, think Wisconsin when they played the last 2 years, even UW a couple weeks ago, where teams are really kind of run-centric, and that's what they do. They actually do a nice job of stopping the run and making the game pretty one-dimensional. But then you got to, obviously, when the ball gets put in the hands of, say, Maddox Madsen, the quarterback for Boise, he's going to make some plays, and you got to figure out how to stop that a little bit. But they've done a nice job when teams have elite running backs of controlling those running backs because they kind of sell out against the run. Just leaves you open to some other things. So I think they'll be able to not stop Genty by any means, but hopefully control them. And then really that offense for Washington State, the first time John Mateer's going on the road as the starter. He's a young player. You just never know how those things go. It's a veteran Boise defense. So I'm excited. It's going to be a great football game.
I wanted to ask you another question about Genty because I enjoy watching him run. But what makes him unique, Alex, is that he runs with such patience. He allows the blocks to set up. A lot of guys will go full steam ahead and hit the hole too fast. But this guy, he waits for the blocks to set up. And then when he has to plant and cut, he can do that, but also has the acceleration to go the distance. He's a unique one.
Yeah, you got kind of Le'Veon Bell vibes, where, like you said, kind of slow play the run, let everybody get in front. And then when you do see the hole, you really put your foot in the ground and go north-south. He's a strong back. He's also on the shorter side, which, again, you find with these running backs when they're smaller and more stout, they're really hard to tackle because there's just, there's not as much space to hit, frankly. And so, that's one thing. He's a really strong back. He runs behind his pads. I also, again, the way that offense is set up, for running backs, when you can have an offense that can go under center part of the time, it's really more effective for the running game than being in the shotgun all the time. And so with Dirk Cutter and his experience being around Chris Peterson and his time in the NFL, right, they'll go under center. It's a lot like Washington and Jed Fish, and they can run really effectively in the wide zone game, and it's tough to stop.
Alex, I want to talk to you about the Pac-12 and what it might be. We know now they have 7 teams coming in to play football, but they're also going to be in court, it looks like, with the Mountain West Conference on that whole issue of a poaching penalty. Your thoughts on how all that stuff's going to shake out?
Oh my goodness, it seems like day to day.
Yeah, it does.
So
Yeah.
I don't know how it'll all shake out. In all honesty, I mean, I think when in regards to the court case, I think the Pac probably has a case simply because of the way the Mountain West handled the second year of the negotiation of the scheduling agreement, which essentially, again, kind of put the Pac-12 in a tough position of, do I pay $30 million for the scheduling agreement, or do I try and go recreate the league? So, there's an argument there for sure. Obviously, you signed the agreement in good faith, so you knew the poaching penalty existed in general, but I mean, that's more so for the lawyers to figure out. What I'm more interested in is really how this shakes out with the leagues, because look, in the end, if the Mountain West can't come up with one more team, to join their league, then they'll end up dissolving. And then when they dissolve, it all doesn't matter anyway. And that's probably the root of some of this chess match that's being played. And for the Pac, they got to find. The Mountain West needs 2 more teams because Hawaii is not actually a full member. Now the Pac needs obviously 1 more team. What do you do there? I mean, there's a million different ways to go. It feels like, but you're kind of losing a few along the way with UNLV out, and then Memphis and Tulane said no. But then just today they said Memphis said, well, the door's not totally closed. So there is a lot. It's a very fluid situation.
There was a story that came out today that Sacramento State has gotten the funds to build a bigger and better stadium. They have been, after years and years, decades maybe, of not being very good in football. The last few years, they've been pretty good. What would you think? Would there be any chance at all that a school from the Big Sky could move up that far?
I think it's a big leap, in all honesty. I mean, you obviously they had different scholarship requirements, so they'd have to fill out a roster in a hurry, right? Like they don't. Yeah. That's the whole issue with the Big Sky schools. They don't have the depth, right? On the front lines, a lot of times they have football players that are comparable, but it's really about the depth. Obviously, they got to get the stadium built and the facilities. And then I think as a part of that story, I saw where they may, when they move from FCS to FBS, they may not be able to compete at, for playoff spots and stuff for a couple of years. So, there's some challenges there. Now, Sacramento's a big metro area, and there's some things to like about it, and you get into kind of the, obviously, quote unquote California market. But I think there's better options out there potentially. I think there's different routes to go. If you're really going to make a reach, I think you reach into Texas and do a deal with maybe Texas State, because again, you're looking for a different demographic, geographic area. But I think part of the whole conversation, right, is if you're going to do this, and it's really short term, so it's only for the next 5 or 6 years, do you just keep it regional and be really smart about how you spend your funds and, what you can do with your partners in the league and put yourself in a position to be competitive year in and year out versus stretching yourself too thin, spending too much money, and then come 2029, 2030, when all of this changes again, you're not in a great position, for whatever the next step is.
We're talking with Alex Brink, E4 Sports. He's our college football and NFL insider, former Coug here on the Rip City Drive. What did your take on this mess down at UNLV with quarterback Matthew Sluka, who has decided to pull away from the team, and he's going to transfer because of an NIL dispute? He claims that the school has not met payments that were promised to him. The school says that there was no agreement in place, and therefore they're in good standing. But nonetheless, you have a team that's 3-0 with wins over Kansas and also Houston, and is that leader of the group of 5 to possibly reach the playoff. And now they're without their starting quarterback. What's your read on that situation?
It's everything that's wrong with NIL in college football to date. I mean, the reality here is, I'm not even going to blame the kid, because he's, if he's had an agreement in any sort to get paid, then he should get paid. Now, the problem is when the NCAA opened this Pandora's box, and essentially by not creating any rules or guidelines, then they absolve themselves of having to deal with situations like this. And if you just think about it in the sense of any professional league that we're around, you would obviously have collective bargaining. You would have free agency instead of, you would have free agency guidelines. You would have things around agents and making sure that, they're certified, and you would have contracts, and you would have all these mechanisms that already exist in professional sports should exist at the collegiate level now, because that's what these players are. And so Sluka gets put in a really bad spot and probably got some really bad advice. And obviously he looks like the bad guy, but the reality is this is from the top down. And it's not even really UNLV or their collective's fault. It's just the nature of it, right? None of these collectives, they're run by fans. They're run by boosters. They don't necessarily know what they're doing, most of them. And so, I'm not surprised there's no contract. So again, it's what's muddy and gross about the whole thing, because, again, it makes a kid look really bad publicly. He obviously made a choice that he felt was best for him, and it's really sad, and from a football and a team standpoint, because that's not what the game's about. But this is much bigger than UNLV and Matthew Sluka. This is all about what is college football and really college athletics going to be moving forward, because what it is right now does not work. It does not work at all. He's not the only athlete that hasn't gotten paid in NIL, by the way. Believe me, you just haven't heard a lot about it. So this is going to come out more and more and more, and we're on a fast track I think, to all of this changing and somehow hopefully getting some guardrails put around it.
Alex, what did you think about USC losing at Michigan? What were your thoughts on that game?
Well, they got beat up, obviously. Michigan's a really physical football team. Wolverines maybe figured some things out a little bit. I also think everybody with USC, and this was USC every year, right? Like USC wins a few ball games, and it's back to 2006 and 2004, 5, and 6 that everybody thinks they're going to be winning national titles all the time, or competing for them. When the reality is that it's the same. Although the coaches, on the defensive side are new, it's relatively the same roster defensively. So, there were some limitations to who they were as a defense. They were always a defense that got pushed around physically because of the way they recruited and the schemes that were in. And you can change the schemes, but you still need to change the players. And I just felt like the physicality for USC was not there in that game. And they're probably not quite good enough offensively, a lot of new faces, to overcome that lack of physicality on defense.
What are you looking at with the game of the year, or one of the games of the year this weekend in Bama, when you've got Georgia and Bama number 2 against number 4?
Yeah, super intrigued, to see how Kalen DeBoer and that staff uses Jalen Milroe and his legs, and what does kind of how does that play into their game plan, and are they able to really stretch that Georgia defense vertically with some of the talent at the wide receiver position? I think Georgia's probably a better football team top to bottom. I'm just intrigued to see if DeBoer, as good as we've seen him, right, in big games and big moments and throughout his career, is maybe he a little bit of an X factor from a coaching standpoint, right? Because new to the league, Kirby Smart hasn't seen him. That's a little bit of an X factor that I'm really interested to see.
What do you think about the Beavers bounce back against Purdue, pounding on them a little bit?
I thought it was great. I mean, definitely a confidence builder. Purdue certainly isn't a fantastic football team, but again, it's a Big Ten opponent, and they're coming into your house and, coming off of a really tough loss to the Tucks. I mean, I think them reestablishing kind of who they are, right? Being able to run the football, play action pass. I loved what Ryan Gunderson was doing with the offensive coordinator and the play calls and the execution by the athletes. I think defensively they showed their physicality. So, for Oregon State, I think the hope obviously is you lost to your rival who's really good. It was a game you had a lot of excitement around, but you can still right the ship and have an incredible season. And I thought last week was kind of the first step in that.
Hey, Alex, what did you think about Jaden Daniels' performance on Monday night? The Commanders over the Bengals, but it was Daniels who came up with a big 4th down late, had the huge touchdown pass to McLaren, and made good decisions throughout the course of the night.
He was fantastic. I mean, he was so efficient throwing the football. Just felt like it really, as I've watched Jaden Daniels from high school all the way, till now, just so impressed with his continued maturity as a passer and his ability. He's always had the arm talent, but again, his ability to make good decisions. He knows when to attack. I think that's what you're alluding to with the touchdown throw. It's like, hey, I know I got my guy out there. If I give him a chance, he's going to make a play. And sure enough, he made a play, and part of it was because Daniels threw such a good ball. But his athletic ability has stood out. I mean, he really does. Even though he's his frame is smaller, when he's running the football, he feels like he's one of the more athletic players on the field. And for sure, that is a weapon in the NFL these days. So super impressed with Daniel's start to the season.
Well, Brink, I know you guys have a ton to be excited about with E4 Sports and everything you have that's going on, but I want to focus in on a couple of things. First off, the golf farm, and then you got to tell me about your partners with Headquarters Physical Therapy.
Yeah, super excited. Our partnership with the golf farm down in Tualatin. Brian Henninger, former PGA Tour player and winner, was competed at the Masters in '99 against Crenshaw, and just Oregon-born. And he does a fantastic work along with his partner Amy Simonton in the golf teaching space. If you haven't checked it out, check out the Henninger Golf Farm. And, we're down there, we're doing physical therapy and some training, all golf focused, with the idea of, hey, if you want to be a better golfer and you want to be healthy and feel athletic when you're doing it, there's a lot of tools out there, right? Think Titleist Performance Institute, TPI screens, all of that is offered down there at the golf farm. Check it out. And Headquarters Physical Therapy is a part of that. I mean, we are, again, some of the best PTs in the area, sports focused, really thinking about keeping, folks that are active and healthy, keeping you up in that lifestyle. And so check out headquarterspt.com. It's not just golf focused, it's everything. If you got any ailments, you're banged up, or you just want to stay healthy, check out HQPT.
You're the best, Brink. We appreciate it. Enjoy Boise this weekend, and we'll talk to you next week.
Looking forward to it. Everybody stay up and watch that game. It's going to be a good one.
Is it a late one? Are we having another late one?
It's a late 7 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Mountain. Wow.
All right, good. Good luck, and have fun watching Gente.
Thanks, guys.
Love Alex Brink. Well, a side question for you, Godfather. Have you ever played golf at Salem Country Club?
No, I hear it's really nice, though. Have you?
No, but I just got an invite for Salem Country Club.
Really? Better take that.
That's kind of what I was thinking. Yeah.
I'm shocked. Really surprised you're going to take them up on that. Which one of the loyal listeners is making that offer?
This is my guy, Jason Gallagher, down at Spirit Mountain Casino.
Ah.
He hit me up. He's like, hey, you want to hit Salem Country Club? I'm like, well, I guess if you got to twist my arm. I'm gripping right now, man, because I'm looking at my days. I'm looking at when the Blazer season starts. I'm like, damn.
Yeah, your days are numbered.
I'm playing really good golf right now, too. So
oh, yeah?
I'm glad that I came out of my funk. I was playing the best golf ever. Then I went into that funk. And now, like, I've got the feels back. And so I'm just trying to eat it up and enjoy it as much as possible. And look at the weather right now. Blue skies and sunshine. Isn't that nice?
Very nice.
It was foggy this morning. I got the fog severe weather alert on my phone for the fog.
We didn't have it over here. I didn't have it. I had some heavy clouds, though, this morning. It was looked like it might rain even. But they passed.
Oh, yeah. You and I were talking just a moment ago. Can you imagine how sickening the hype and all the nonsense around Bronny and LeBron's going to be with the start of the NBA season? Get used to it.
Oh,
prepare yourself mentally.
It's going to be disgusting.
Yeah, it's despicable.
They're going to make such a big deal about it.
The LeBron ball washing is going to go to a different level. It is going to go to heights we've never seen before.
I'll have tears in my eyes when I see them on the court together, Chad, just so you know.
Oh, my gosh.
What an emotional moment.
How bad do you think his retirement tour is going to be? Like, that's going to be awful.
Gosh.
He'll make it all about himself.
Right.
Too.
Yeah. And then we're going to have to give gifts out to him and stuff.
I hope the Blazers give him a backgammon set like they did Kareem. I'll never forget that. Kareem, final stop in Portland at the Coliseum, they gave him a backgammon set. I was like, what? What are you doing with backgammon? Come on, man. I think the Lakers gave him like a motorcycle or something like that.
What would you give LeBron? I mean, the man has everything. What would you give him?
Jeez. I don't know. What do you give someone that has everything?
I would look for a gag gift of some kind, and the joke would be on him.
I'd get him an autographed MJ jersey.
Now we're talking. Yeah. How about a pet billy goat? Because that's as close as he's ever come. He's going to come to being the goat.
I love goats. I want a little goat. I'd like to hang out with one.
You should play Eastmoreland right now. They have goats on the course. Did you see that?
What?
Yeah, they're using goats to cut the rough down. They got several of them out there. It was on the news. I saw it. I can't remember which newscast. But
you're lying your ass off right now. They're using goats?
Look it up.
Dude, I'm not joking. I'll share the story when we come back. I'll tell you about my neighbor with the goats.
Okay.
And puppy shots
You had
going
a neighbor
crazy.
with goats?
I'll tell you the whole story. I couldn't believe it. And I can't believe how much goats can eat. It is truly remarkable.
Yeah. They eat anything too, right?
They have goats out there at Eastmoreland right now?
Yeah, they're using goats to kind of cut down the ragged rough.
Well, they'll do it. Be careful. They'll take out everything, man. Your trees, your grass, everything's going to be gone.
Oh, old cans of soda pop, whatever. Right?
Goats, no bounds, man. Yeah. Can he call you dad on the court? Well, no, but goat's fine. Shut up, Bron. All right, this is a much-needed high five. Dwight and I are going to hand out a high five to goats.
Yes. Not LeBron, though.
No. We're talking about goats, not the goat.
Yeah.
Also,
Billy Goats. Billy Goats.
Eastmoreland Golf Course.
Chipping your way out of the weeds might be a little tricky when you're out on the green, and that's why Portland Parks and Recreation employing some furry friends to help clean up their banks. 10 goats and a llama to be specific. Partnering with Go Goat Oregon, the team of animals began munching their way through the weeds at Eastmoreland Hole 13.
Apparently, llamas have a strong predator drive for canines, and they don't like things like coyotes, and they will go after them when they're here. On Monday morning, I came around the corner over there, and there was a coyote, and Dewey spotted him real early and wasn't too happy and chased him out of here.
Oh, I love that. Well, the team expected to be working for 2 to 3 weeks as part of the park's golf director's plans to maintain the course without the need for equipment or harsh chemicals.
High five to Eastmoreland. High five to goats. So my neighbor, it's like Wild Kingdom in the backyard. And I love any type of homeowners association because you try to do anything on the front of your crib to make it look better. You got to have permits for this. You got to get permission. Like they just hassle, nonstop.
Yeah.
But if you want to let your backyard turning into the Wild Kingdom and you have mountains and, like lions, tigers, and bears back there.
Yeah, you expect to see Tarzan going through your yard.
Yeah,
right?
It's ridiculous. They won't say a word to you. So one day I hear puppy shots with a rapid fire, angry dachshund barking. I'm like, what in the world's going on back there? So I go out there and I'm like, Shots, what are you barking at? And I look through the fence and I see not one, not two, but 3 goats. And I was like, whoa. Munch. Yes, my name is Munch. I didn't know at the time, but apparently, the neighbor brought in the goats to clear out the backyard, which was horrific. And sure enough, you fast forward a few weeks, those goats cleared out everything. And they never stopped munching. They just constantly move around and munch. And it drove Puppy Shots crazy because he's like, hey, those are goats. I want a piece of them, and I'm going to bark at them. But Godfather, they didn't stop, and they were chewing on, like, some of the most harsh stuff. They must have, like, stomachs of iron.
Yeah, they'll eat blackberries. There's like
blackberry bushes.
Yeah.
That's the last thing I want to eat.
Oh, my gosh.
So it says right here, I went to Rabbi Google, can I use goats to clear land? Here's the answer. Overall, goats, not LeBron, but goats, can be valuable management tools. They can go where equipment like bulldozers cannot, and they are considered low-impact animals, meaning they rarely cause soil compaction or erosion issues. Goats are also great for steep areas and can help control the encroachment of brush within fire breaks. It's a great point. Goats can climb up anything.
Yeah. Yeah, you got that side hill that you can't mow with a lawnmower. Just bring the goats on.
All right, I'm done with radio. I want to buy a bunch of goats and then go around renting them out to people. I think it's genius.
Oh, can you imagine the guy has 10 goats and a llama? He just turns them loose.
Dude, I love watching goats, like baby goats. Like they play King of the Hill all the time.
Oh, really?
And they like to knock each other off, and they're always climbing on stuff. I saw one goat leap from the top of a barn roof on right onto a horse's back. Like he just they jump and they've got great balance. I've never seen anything like it. I guess what I'm saying is I'd like a goat. So, anyways, finally I was like, Puppy Shots, those goats, they're not here to harm you. So I picked up Shots. And I put his long dachshund nose through the fence, and the goat that was there came over, and they touched noses, and Shots, tail wagged, and the goat's tail wagged, and you could tell that the goat was happy, and Shots appeared to be happy, and then I put him on the ground, and he started barking again. It's like, Shots.
Yeah, I thought it was going to be no more barking after that.
But I told Kaylee, I said, hey, watch this. So I went and got a big bag of carrots out of the fridge. And I'm talking about like the big full-length carrots because I was just like, I want to have some fun with these goats to see what they can do. Their mouths, I don't know how they do it, but they're like, their mouth is like a garbage disposal, like a weed eater. Like I was just inserting, it's like bzzz, it's like a pencil sharpener. I was putting these carrots in, and the goat, he would just munch one down and go right into another one, nonstop.
You be careful with that. Take your finger too.
It was nonstop.
Wow.
I've never seen anything like it. I'm just fascinated by the goats. I couldn't believe how quickly they ate, but they didn't stop. The whole time during the day, they're just walking around eating this, eating that. How do they? I don't know how they do it.
I wonder how many golf balls they chew. Because, it's not a golf course. There's golf balls in there.
They probably like golf balls.
Balls for all.
Speaking of that, all right, here's the last chance for us to tell you that tomorrow, Godfather and I want you to join us and the Godbrother who's going to be there at the one and only Haven Spa off Highway 212 in Clackamas, 10560 Southeast Highway 212 in Clackamas, 10560 Southeast Highway 212 in Clackamas. We will be there broadcasting live from 3 to 6, and we're doing it for the Boys and Girls Club of the Portland metro area, raising balls for all. Balls for all!
Boys and Girls Club.
Soccer balls, footballs, baseballs, basketballs. They can be new or gently used sports balls. Bring them by, and we're going to dump them in a Viking spa. You can enter to win Trailblazer tickets and gift cards for Dick's Sporting Goods. What else do you want? And it's going to be beautiful.
Bring your balls.
Bring them. Show me your balls. Get out there tomorrow. Haven Spa, 10560 Southeast Highway 212 in Clackamas. Balls for all.
Hard to do that at the end of the show.
I know. Just destroyed my voice.
Yeah.